Chapter 587. Cross-Region Token? 6 days later? Lu Ming's eyes turned. 6 days later it would be too late. It would be the appointed day. However, there was no other way now. All right, 6 days later. I must get a cross-region token. Lu Ming whispered in a firm voice. They chatted as they walked. Soon, the two of them walked out of the palace. Brother Lu, if you need anything, just let me know. A cross-region token is worth a lot. If you need help with spiritual crystals, Fei Xue can help temporarily. Fei Xue said, No need, Miss Fei Xue. Thank you for your help this time. 6 days later, I will definitely get a cross-region token. Lu Ming cupped his fists and left. 6 days later, even if I get a cross-region token, it can only be used on the second day. That means 7 days later. I hope I can make it in time. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. Lu Ming did not return to the inn directly. He asked around and walked towards the Tianji auction house. He did not have many supreme, spiritual crystals with him now. 800,000 supreme, spiritual crystals were probably not enough. According to Fei Xue, every time there were 2 cross-region tokens, the price would be raised to a very high level. Lu Ming planned to take out some items to auction in the Tianji auction house. What should I use to auction? Lu Ming pondered as he walked. He had many low-level items with him, but they were not worth much. High-level items such as the true dragon of combat skills, the 3 unique skills of the dragon god, the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps, and the tree of enlightenment could not be auctioned. The Xianxiang silicon soil could be auctioned, but Lu Ming could not bear to part with it. Lu Ming also could not take out the 5-level 6-top 7 knots grass because Lu Ming planned to use it to break through level 7 physical body. As for the heaven-class martial skills, Lu Ming had 7 or 8 of them. They were all heaven-class, lower-class martial skills. However, it was impossible for 7 or 8 low-grade heaven-tier martial skills to be sold for a high price. It seems that I have to sell some profound crystals. Lu Ming pondered. He had a lot of power Upanishad crystals. It wasn't a big deal to sell some that he didn't need. Soon, Lu Ming arrived at the Tianji auction house. Tianji Chamber of Commerce was the continent's #1 chamber of commerce. Young master, are you putting up a treasure for auction? The moment he entered the Tianji auction house, a beautiful young lady walked up to him and asked with a smile, Not bad. Lu Ming nodded. Most of the people who came to the Tianji auction house were here to auction their treasures. Sir, please follow me. Your treasure needs to be appraised by an appraiser. The girl brought Lu Ming to a counter. Master appraiser, this young hero wants to auction his treasures. The young girl said to a white-haired old man behind the counter. All right, I got it. You can leave now. The old man waved his hand, and the young girl retreated. Little brother, what treasure do you want to auction? The old man smiled as he looked at Lu Ming. He was very amiable and made people feel as if they were bathing in the spring breeze. As expected of the Tianji Chamber of Commerce, their quality was different. I want to auction profound crystals, Lu Ming said. Oh, how many crystals do you want to auction? According to the rules, anything below 10 crystals can't be auctioned. The old man smiled. Anything below 10 crystals was too little. The treasures auctioned by the Tianji Chamber of Commerce all had a base price of 10,000 supreme-grade spirit crystals and above. I'm auctioning 2,000 low-grade profound crystals, Lu Ming said. He then took out a storage ring and handed it to the old man. What, 2,000 crystals? The old man's voice suddenly rose, and his face was filled with shock. Gao Kang's voice attracted the attention of some people nearby. Some of the young ladies even guessed that there was some special treasure. Otherwise, why would the appraiser be so surprised? Profound crystals were consumables. As long as a martial artist had the right attribute, they would use it to increase their strength. Very few people could take out 2,000 profound crystals to auction at once. The old man's consciousness sank into the storage ring, and his eyes widened. Metal attribute, profound crystals. 2,000 of them. All of them are metal attribute, profound crystals, the old man exclaimed. He originally thought that even if Lu Ming took out 2,000 profound crystals, they would be mixed with various attributes. If that was the case, the price would be much lower. He didn't expect that they would all be metal attribute, profound crystals. The price of the same kind of power Upanishad crystal would be much higher. Those who cultivated metal concept would probably go crazy to bid for them. The market price of a profound crystal was 1,000 supreme grade spirit crystals. But in fact, 1,000 supreme grade spirit crystals couldn't even buy one profound crystal. It could often be sold for several thousand or even more. And the fewer profound crystals there were, the cheaper they would be. If there were a lot, they could be sold in groups, and the price would be even higher. If a martial artist refined 1 or 2 profound crystals, it would only speed up their comprehension of concept. But if there were a lot of profound crystals and they were used continuously, not only would the effect be better, but they could also break through the realm of concept. For example, if a concept reached a bottleneck, 1 or 2 profound crystals might be useless, but 100 of them might be enough to break through the bottleneck. So, the more profound crystals there were, the higher the average price of each profound crystal would be. If 2,000 metal profound crystals were auctioned together, the price would definitely be terrifyingly high. Little brother, I'll help you register. The old man hurriedly helped Lu Ming register, and then gave Lu Ming a proof of auction. Little brother, according to the rules, after you auction, you have to pay a 5% commission. The old man smiled. I understand this. Lu Ming nodded, put away the proof of auction, and left the heavenly secret auction. After making a few rounds in Hong City, Lu Ming casually found a restaurant and walked in. Lu Ming ordered some dishes and wine at a table by the window and started eating. Have you heard? This time, the heavenly secret auction will have a great treasure to auction. The Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce announced it a few days ago. I also heard about it. I wonder what kind of great treasure it is. I don't know exactly what kind of great treasure it is. An elder of my family works at the Heavenly Secret Auction. According to him, it's a rare treasure that's hard to come by. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. In the restaurant, some people were eating and drinking while chatting. Among them, a short and fat young man spoke the loudest, his face full of pride. At this time, the short and fat young man's expression changed. He took out a sound transmission jade talisman and looked at it. His face changed. Then he said loudly, "Big news, big news! I just received news that the Heavenly Secret Auction will have another great treasure to auction. Can you guess what it is?" "How can we guess?" "Hurry up and say it." The others said, "Haha, let me tell you. This time it's profound crystals." The short and fat young man said, "Profound crystals? What's so strange about that? How is it a great treasure?" The others were disdainful. Although profound crystals are not great treasures, when there are enough of them, they become great treasures. I heard that this time, a set of 2,000 metal attribute profound crystals will be auctioned together. The Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce has already begun to announce it. The short and fat young man said loudly, "What? 2,000 metal attribute profound crystals?" The others were shocked, and all of them were extremely shocked. Chapter 588. To the side, Lu Ming was also taken aback. He didn't expect the news to spread so quickly. The Secret Chamber of Commerce was really fast. In fact, it wasn't hard to understand why the Secret Chamber of Commerce would do this. In this way, they could attract more people who needed the metal attribute profound crystals to bid. At that time, the price would be even higher, and the Secret Chamber of Commerce would naturally earn more. Lu Ming smiled. This was also a good thing for him. After eating and drinking to his heart's content, Lu Ming walked out of the restaurant and returned to the inn. There were still 6 days left. It was just enough for him to cultivate. Now, Lu Ming's cultivation base had already reached the peak of the 9th layer Martial King realm. It would be impossible for him to break through in a short time. As for his martial skills, the 3 arts of the dragon god had already been cultivated to the 5th level. As for the 9 dragon sky stomping steps, although his recent progress was extremely fast, it would still take some time to cultivate it to the 4th level. The 4th level of the 9 dragon sky stomping steps was equivalent to the 6th level of a high-grade, heaven-grade martial skill. Now, I can only improve my physical body first. Lu Ming pondered. As long as Lu Ming's physical body broke through to the 7th grade, his battle strength would increase by another level. The 7th grade physical body was 10 times stronger than the 6th grade physical body. There was a huge gap between the 6th grade physical body and the 7th grade physical body. Lu Ming took out a stalk of 7-knot grass. 7-knot grass was originally an ordinary grade 1 spirit herb. However, after being nurtured on the mysterious yellow silicon soil for who knew how many years, it had become a top grade 6 spirit herb. The medicinal power it contained was incomparably rich. Lu Ming used the 10,000 spirit battle body. He slowly transformed the 7-knot grass into all spirit chi and began to cultivate his physical body. The top rank 6 spirit plant was extremely useful even for Sea of Souls realm warriors. The medicinal power it contained was just too rich. The surging medicinal power was constantly transformed into strands of all spirit chi and seeped into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's muscles, bones, internal organs, and meridians were all rapidly improving, approaching another level. 1 day later, Lu Ming refined a 7-knot grass. Lu Ming took out another 7-knot grass and continued to refine it. Day after day passed. In the blink of an eye, 5 days had passed. Lu Ming had completely refined the 5-bot 7-knot grass. At this moment, Lu Ming's body was surrounded by a layer of dense mist. A rich medicinal fragrance was emitted from Lu Ming's body. Crackle! The sound of frying beans came from Lu Ming's body. Wisps of gray mist were expelled from his body. They were the impurities in his body. Lu Ming's body was covered in a layer of treasure glow, as if he were a supreme treasure. After 5 days of cultivation and refining 5 stalks of 7 knots grass, Lu Ming's physical body had finally broken through to rank 7. His physical strength had increased tenfold. Kacha! Kacha! Lu Ming's mind flickered. Lu Ming's body emitted a series of sounds. Immediately, Lu Ming's body grew taller, and his muscles also swelled. In a few breaths, Lu Ming had turned into a 2-meter-tall, burly young man. This was the mystery of rank 7 physical body. When one's physical body reached rank 7, one could freely change their muscle, bone density, size, and body shape. With another series of explosions, Lu Ming turned back. Taking out a rank 5 spirit sword, Lu Ming slashed his arm. He felt like he was slashing leather and couldn't cut it at all. The rank 5 spirit sword was extremely sharp, but now it couldn't cut Lu Ming's skin. It could be seen how powerful Lu Ming's physical body's defense was. Most Sea of Soul realm experts couldn't reach rank 7 physical body. He poured in his quintessential essence and then slashed his arm. Only then did a wound appear on his arm. However, before blood could flow out, the muscles on the wound quickly wriggled. In a few breaths of time, the wound healed, leaving behind a scar. Furthermore, the scar was also rapidly disappearing. He believed that in a few hours, the scar would completely disappear. Rank 7 physical body is indeed powerful. In this way, my battle strength has increased by at least 20%. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Don't belittle this 20% increase. Lu Ming's combat strength was based on the convergence of his vital essence, concepts, martial techniques, and many other aspects. Moreover, Lu Ming's combat strength was already extremely shocking. It was already very terrifying that it had increased by 20%. This was also because of the mystery of the 10,000 spirit battle body. Even if other people had rank 6 spirit grass, it would be useless. There is still some medicinal power left in my body. There is still a day before the auction starts. It's just enough time to refine it. Immediately, Lu Ming operated the 10,000 spirit battle body and continued to refine the medicinal power. A day's time passed in the blink of an eye. The next day, Lu Ming received a message. Flying Snow had arrived and was waiting for him downstairs. Miss Flying Snow. Lu Ming arrived downstairs and said with a smile, "Brother Lu." Flying Snow also faintly smiled. She looked at Lu Ming with some astonishment. After not seeing him for a few days, she felt that there were some changes in Lu Ming's body. However, she couldn't pinpoint the specific changes. "Miss Flying Snow, you also want to go to the auction?" Lu Ming asked. The auction held by Secret Chamber of Commerce only happens once every half a year. Moreover, this time, it said that a rare treasure will be auctioned. Of course, I have to go and take a look. Moreover, this time there will be a set of 2,000 metal attribute, profound crystals being auctioned. I have an elder who also cultivates metal mentality. Soon it will be his birthday. I want to buy them as a gift for him. Flying Snow smiled. Oh, Lu Ming nodded. I really don't know who it is that actually has 2,000 metal attribute, profound crystals. Moreover, they're all auctioned together. This is extremely rare. I reckon that the competition this time will be very intense. I wonder if I can get them. Flying Snow sighed. Lu Ming smiled and rubbed his nose. The two of them walked towards the Secret Chamber of Commerce. Soon they arrived. Miss Flying Snow, you are here too. Please follow me to the VIP room. When Flying Snow arrived, there was a beautiful young lady who welcomed her with a smile. She led Lu Ming and Flying Snow to a VIP room. Like most auction venues, the first floor of the auction venue was a huge hall. Above the hall, there was a high platform used to host the auction. On the second floor, there were many VIP rooms that surrounded the entire hall. The view was excellent, and one could see the scene below. Lu Ming and Flying Snow arrived at VIP room number 10. Lu Ming opened the window and looked out. At this moment, there were already many people in the hall. Moreover, the number of people was increasing. In VIP room number 5, Qin Qingfei and a middle-aged man were sitting inside. This time, I must get 2,000 metal attribute, profound crystals. Qin Qingfei's eyes revealed a fiery light. He cultivated the metal mentality and had reached a bottleneck. If he could get 2,000 metal attribute profound crystals, he would definitely be able to break through the bottleneck. Moreover, his metal mentality would improve by leaps and bounds. Second young master, although the metal attribute profound crystals are precious, our goal this time is that great treasure. The middle-aged man reminded. Don't worry. This time, my father gave me a large amount of supreme grade spirit crystals. I will definitely be able to get that great treasure, Qin Qingfei said confidently. Chapter 589. It's that kid again. When Qin Qingfei saw Lu Ming, his eyes turned cold and the corners of his mouth curled up into a sneer. This kid is most likely here for the cross-region token. It's not that easy to get the cross-region token. Qin Qingfei sneered and closed the window. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a trace of gloominess. There were more and more people in the hall. In the end, there were at least 20,000 people. There was a requirement to enter the Tianji auction house. One must be a martial king or above. Those below the martial king realm were not allowed to enter. In other words, the 20,000 people present were all martial king realm martial artists and above. Lu Ming was secretly amazed. The strength of the Hong domain was indeed powerful. Tianqian domain could not be compared to it. In the Tianqian domain, even if all the martial kings were added together, there wouldn't be more than 20,000 people. And now, there were more than 20,000 people in a single auction. It was simply incomparable. At this time, a middle-aged man in a white robe with a scholarly appearance walked up to the high platform. Branch President Feng Xiu is here. When the middle-aged man walked up to the stage, the whole place became quiet as if he had a great deterrent force. The middle-aged man smiled and said, I believe many people know me. However, there are some new friends who don't know me. Let me introduce myself again. I am Feng Xiu, the branch president of the Tianji Chamber of Commerce in the Hong domain. I am the host of this auction. This time, there are a total of 218 treasures up for auction. They are all top-quality treasures. I hope everyone will be satisfied. All right, time is limited. Let's begin the first auction today. Feng Xiu was very direct. He went straight to the point and announced the start of today's auction. Immediately, a beautiful young girl walked up with a tray. On the tray, there was a picture. Feng Xiu took the picture and saw a lightning bolt on it. I believe everyone can see that this is an inscription talisman scroll. As long as you inject true essence into it, you can activate the inscription on the inscription talisman scroll and launch a fatal attack. This lightning inscription talisman scroll has the power of a peak 7th martial king realm martial artist. The starting price is 10,000 supreme spiritual crystals, and the increment is at least 1,000 supreme spiritual crystals. After the introduction, Feng Xiu gave the starting price. It's actually an inscription symbol scroll. This thing is very rare. At a critical moment, it can save your life. Moreover, its power is equivalent to the full power attack of a 7th level martial king. If used well, it can even kill a 7th level martial king warrior. I'll take it. I'll pay 12,000 top-grade spiritual crystals. There was a burst of discussion at the scene. Immediately, someone began to bid. It's an inscription symbol scroll. Lu Ming's expression also changed. An inscription symbol scroll was a symbol scroll refined by an inscription master. However, an ordinary inscription master simply could not refine it. If one wanted to refine an inscription symbol scroll, the first condition was to be a pure inscription master. In fact, most of the so-called inscribers were not pure. They mainly focused on cultivating martial arts, and inscribing was secondary. Most martial artists would cultivate some Tao of inscription to assist their martial arts cultivation. None of them were pure inscribers. If one was not a pure inscriber, they would not be able to refine an inscription symbol scroll. In the Tianqian domain, there was not a single pure inscriber. It was said that a person's energy was limited. If one wanted to become a pure inscriber, they would need to spend a lot of energy. Their martial arts cultivation would certainly not be too high. Moreover, a pure inscriber's combat strength was extremely low before reaching the 5th level. They could not compare to a martial artist. However, once a pure inscriber broke through to the 5th level, there would be a qualitative change. Their combat strength would become extremely terrifying, and their fighting style would be incomparably mysterious. Therefore, a pure inscriber had another name. They were called a true inscriber. A true inscriber, a true inscriber. These were all things that Lu Ming had seen in ancient books. He did not expect to see an inscription, symbol scroll, refined by a true inscriber. Just as Lu Ming was thinking, the price rose steadily. It had already broken through 20,000 top-grade spiritual crystals. What a bunch of country bumpkins. There are people who want such a trashy inscription, symbol scroll. In the past, when I casually refined an inscription symbol scroll, it was 100,000 times. 1,000,000 times better than this. Dandan was lying on Lu Ming's shoulder with one leg crossed over the other. It was holding a 5th level elixir that Lu Ming had coaxed it into its mouth. As it chewed, it muttered with a face full of disdain. "Oh, then why don't you refine one for me?" Lu Ming's mouth twitched. "Humph, I am injured now. Otherwise, it would be a matter of minutes," Dandan boasted shamelessly. On the side, Flying Snow looked at Dandan with interest. "Brother Lu, this tortoise monster beast of yours is quite fun." Flying Snow laughed. When a monster beast reached the king level, it could speak. Flying Snow did not find it strange. "This fellow, besides boasting, only knows how to eat. It has no other use," Lu Ming said casually. Hearing this, Dandan jumped up from Lu Ming's shoulder, widened its eyes, and said loudly, "Boy, what did you say? How dare you say that I have no use? Outrageous! I am the head of the top 10 battle beasts. I am invincible in the world. How dare you look down on me?" Dandan pointed one of its claws at Lu Ming and said like an old man. However, its voice was childish like a 3-year-old child, causing Flying Snow to giggle. "That's enough. Stay here obediently." Lu Ming smiled and grabbed Dandan's little head. "Outrageous, I'll bite." Dandan bared its teeth and opened its mouth to bite Lu Ming's finger. "Hey, you dare to bite me!" Lu Ming was caught off guard and Dandan bit his finger. He could not get rid of it. In the end, Lu Ming surrendered and took out a level 5 spiritual medicine. Only then did Dandan let go of him angrily. "Now you know how powerful I am." Dandan was complacent and hid in a corner to eat the spiritual medicine. Is this guy the reincarnation of a peerless powerhouse? Lu Ming did not believe it. At this time, the inscription charm scroll had been bought by someone for 35,000 top-grade spiritual crystals. After all, although the inscription charm scroll was powerful, it was only a one-time use item. The price would not be too exaggerated. Then, Feng Xiu took out the second auction item. It was an upper level 5 alchemy furnace. Alchemy furnaces were extremely rare, so the price was several times higher than ordinary spiritual weapons. This upper level 5 alchemy furnace was sold at a high price of 120,000 top-grade spiritual crystals. Then, items were taken out one by one for auction. Refining materials, elixirs, spirit weapons, secret manuals, and even demonic beasts, battle pets, and so on. Everything was available. However, although these treasures were precious, none of them caught Lu Ming's eye. Similarly, no one in the other VIP rooms on the second floor made a bid. Everyone knew that these people were waiting for the treasures at the back. The further they went, the more precious the treasures were. The 156th treasure is a bottle of connate source liquid, and it is a middle-grade connate source liquid. I believe I don't need to say more about the function of the connate source liquid. It is the first sacred item for cultivating the body. Chapter 590. Mid-grade Xiantian origin liquid. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He still remembered that when he was in the Burning Sun Empire, he had bid for Xiantian origin liquid. However, it was a low-grade Xiantian origin liquid, and there were only 9 drops. But now there was a whole bottle of mid-grade Xiantian origin liquid. Mid-grade Xiantian origin liquid was many times more expensive than low-grade Xiantian origin liquid. However, with my current physical strength, this small bottle of mid-grade Xiantian origin liquid won't have much of an effect. But I'll still buy it and give it to Dad and Mom to strengthen their bodies. Lu Ming's heart was moved, and he decided to buy it. All right, this bottle of mid-grade Xiantian origin liquid will start at 50,000 supreme grade spirit crystals. Each bid must be at least 5,000. Feng Xiu announced. I bid 60,000. I bid 70,000. I bid 80,000. As soon as Feng Xiu's voice faded, a group of people started bidding. This bottle of Xiantian origin liquid might not have much effect on Lu Ming, but it didn't mean that it wouldn't have any effect on others. Ordinary martial artists' bodies wouldn't be as strong as Lu Ming's. Even the majority of Sea of Soul Realm experts didn't have a body of 7th grade, unless they specialized in body tempering arts. Ordinary kings, who used Shen Yuan to temper their bodies, would only have a body of 4th grade. There were only a few who could reach 5th grade. Mid-grade Xiantian origin liquid was still very useful to them. The price rose steadily, and soon it reached 100,000 supreme grade spirit crystals. 150,000. Suddenly a clear voice sounded. The person who made the bid was Lu Ming. There was a sudden silence. Lu Ming added 50,000 yuan in one go, showing that he was determined to win. 160,000. Another person made a bid. 200,000. Lu Ming bid again, increasing the price by 40,000. Many people shook their heads and sighed, giving up on the competition. Obviously, Lu Ming didn't hesitate to increase the price. They didn't have the confidence to compete with Lu Ming. To be honest, several tens of thousands of supreme grade spirit crystals were nothing in Lu Ming's eyes. Now he needed at least 1,000,000 spiritual crystals to increase his cultivation by 1 level. He had refined more than 20 million supreme spiritual crystals. 200,000 going once. Are there any more bids? Feng Xiu asked. 215,000. At this moment, a lazy voice sounded. It came from VIP room 5. Qin Qingfei. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. That voice belonged to Qin Qingfei. In VIP room 5, Qin Qingfei had a cold smile on his face as he thought to himself, "Brat, if you want it, I won't let you get it so easily." 250,000. Lu Ming directly raised the price to 250,000. 255,000. Qin Qingfei's voice rang out again, but it was only a symbolic 5,000 yuan increase. That seems to be Qin Qingfei. That's right. I wonder who's in VIP room 10? He seems to have offended Qin Qingfei. Qin Qingfei doesn't intend to bid at all. He's deliberately raising the price with the other party. At the scene, many people saw through Qin Qingfei's intentions. 300,000. If you raise the price again, I'll let you have it. Lu Ming's voice rang out. Haha, since you've offered 300,000 for a bottle of innate original liquid that's worth more than 100,000, how can I compete with you? I'll let you have it. Qin Qingfei's mocking voice rang out. 300,000 going once. Is there any more bids? Feng Xiu asked. No one said anything. What a joke. A bottle of middle-grade innate original liquid was worth more than 100,000 supreme spiritual crystals. 300,000 was too expensive. Who would bid? Feng Xiu asked 3 times in a row, but no one bid. This bottle of innate original liquid naturally belonged to Lu Ming. After a short while, a young girl sent the innate original liquid to VIP room 10. Young master, the president has said that your spiritual crystals can be settled after the auction. The young girl said coquettishly. Okay, thank you, miss. Lu Ming nodded and put away the innate original liquid. Brother Lu, do you have any treasures to auction here? Fei Xue's beautiful eyes flickered as she asked. Only treasures that were put up for auction could be paid after the auction was over. I do have one. Lu Ming nodded. Fei Xue didn't ask further, but she was a little curious. The auction continued. Soon, dozens of auction items were auctioned off. I believe everyone has heard of the 198th auction item. It's the interregion token, which is a slot to take the interregion teleportation formation. I believe everyone knows that activating the interregion teleportation formation consumes a terrifying amount of energy. Therefore, the cost of taking the interregion teleportation formation is also extremely high. Even if it's teleported to the nearest region, it will cost at least 100,000 supreme spiritual crystals. The further the distance, the more expensive the teleportation will be. Originally, there were 2 slots to be auctioned this time. However, the Emperor Heaven Deity Palace took 1 slot back at the last minute. Now, there's only one slot left. This slot can travel as far as 20 regions. Now, the starting price is 100,000 supreme spiritual crystals. Each bid must not be less than 10,000 spiritual crystals. Let the bidding begin. Feng Xiu announced. Only one left? I must get this one. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. I bid 110,000. I bid 120,000. Ow! As soon as Feng Xiu's voice fell, someone immediately started bidding. After all, the Emperor Heaven Deity Palace only gave out 1 or 2 slots each time. How many people were there in the entire Hong domain? There were bound to be people who wanted to head to other regions. Naturally, there were many people bidding. Soon, the price rose to 200,000. I bid 250,000. Everyone, I have something important to do in the Flying Silk region. Please let me have this slot. I'll be very grateful. An old voice sounded. You have something to do? Don't tell me I have nothing to do. I want to go to the Lu Sky region. I bid 280,000. A deep and resounding voice rang out, not giving way at all. 300,000. 320,000. Soon, the price rose to 400,000. Those who bid were all at the Greater Success King realm or above. Those below the Greater Success King realm usually couldn't afford so many supreme spiritual crystals. I bid 600,000. Suddenly, a voice sounded, shaking the entire place. All of a sudden, he added 200,000 supreme spiritual crystals, showing that he was determined to get this slot. It's VIP room 10. Someone looked at VIP room 10. The one who bid was naturally Lu Ming. He was determined to get this slot. The crowd fell silent. 600,000 yuan was too much. Moreover, who knew if Lu Ming would continue to raise the price? Haha, this kid finally can't help but raise the price. 600,000 is too low. In VIP room 5, Qin Qingfei sneered and said, 700,000. Qin Qingfei called out 700,000 supreme spiritual crystals. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold as he looked at VIP room 5. It's this guy again. I knew he would cause trouble. Chapter 591. 800,000. Lu Ming continued to bid without hesitation. 810,000. Qin Qingfei immediately added another 10,000. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with murderous intent as he continued to bid. 1 million. 1,010,000. Qin Qingfei added another 10,000. Wow. The entire place was in an uproar as a heated discussion broke out. It seems like the person in VIP room 10 has really offended Qin Qingfei. Otherwise, why would he keep targeting him? Qin Qingfei is obviously doing this on purpose. Interesting. There were all kinds of expressions at the scene. Some were unhappy with Qin Qingfei's character, while others were gloating and watching the show. Damn it. Qin Qingfei, what do you mean by this? Are you deliberately raising the price? Fei Shui angrily opened the window and angrily shouted at the 5th VIP room. That's Fei Shui. No wonder. Fei Shui's faction and Qin Qingfei's faction are enemies to begin with. It's no wonder Qin Qingfei would deliberately increase the price. Someone immediately recognized Fei Shui. Hee, Fei Shui, don't slander me. I'm bidding normally. Why? You're allowed to bid for the treasures, but I'm not allowed to bid? The Tianji auction house doesn't have such a rule. Qin Qingfei opened the window and sneered. He deliberately looked at Lu Ming provocatively with a mocking look on his face. Damn it. Fei Shui closed the crystal window angrily and gritted her teeth. It doesn't matter, Lu Ming said plainly. He looked calm and continued to bid. 1,200,000. Anyway, 2,000 metal elemental ultimacy crystals would be worth at least 2 million supreme spiritual crystals. This was the lowest price. In fact, it was definitely more than that. 1,200,000. Qin Qingfei continued to bid. 1,300,000. Lu Ming continued to bid without hesitation. In VIP room 5, Qin Qingfei's face flashed with a smug smile as he continued to bid. Second young master, the treasures at the back are more important. If you continue to bid and the other party doesn't want it, we will have wasted 1,300,000 supreme spiritual crystals. I'm afraid it will affect the later part of the plan, the middle-aged man advised. Qin Qingfei's eyes flickered a few times. In the end, he did not continue to raise the price. His mocking voice rang out, 1,300,000 for a spot. I'll let you have it. Qin Qingfei withdrew from the bidding, so naturally no one else made a bid. This spot fell into the hands of Lu Ming. After a while, a young girl took out a token and handed it to Lu Ming. With this token, Lu Ming could use the interdomain transfer array. Lu Ming put away the token. His expression had always been calm, but underneath the calmness there was an endless storm. The auction continued. The further they went, the more precious treasures there were. Especially after the 210th treasure. Each of them was the best of the best. The price of each of them was more than 1,000,000 supreme spiritual crystals. Some of them even went as high as 2,000,000 supreme spiritual crystals. Okay, now there are only 2 treasures left. The next item to be auctioned is a set of ultimacy crystals. 2,000 pieces of metal element ultimacy crystals. After a pause, Feng Xiu continued. As everyone knows, the market price of ultimacy crystals is about 1,000 pieces. In fact, 1,000 ultimacy crystals is absolutely impossible to buy. Moreover, the more ultimacy crystals there are, the higher the price. Now, 2,000 ultimacy crystals have a base price of 2,000,000 supreme spiritual crystals. Each bid must not be less than 100,000. 1,000,000. 2,000,000. As soon as Feng Xiu's voice fell, someone immediately started to bid. Most of the bidders were from the VIP rooms on the second floor. After all, 2,000,000 supreme spiritual crystals was an astronomical figure for most people. Tianji Chamber of Commerce had started to advertise 5 or 6 days ago. Many people had come specifically for the 2,000 metal element ultimacy crystals. Therefore, there were many bidders, and the competition was extremely fierce. Fei Shui was also tempted and joined the ranks of the bidders. In VIP room number 5, Qin Qingfei's eyes were shining with passion. He said, "Don't even think about competing with me. The 2,000 metal element ultimacy crystals are mine." He was not in a hurry to bid. He was waiting for the right time. The price rose steadily and soon reached the 3,000,000 mark. Moreover, it was still rising rapidly. 5,000,000. Fei Shui bid. Lu Ming looked at Fei Shui in surprise. It seemed that Fei Shui's identity was not ordinary. To be able to take out 5,000,000 supreme spiritual crystals for the birthday celebration of a senior was already a big deal. However, someone immediately called out a bid that surpassed Fei Shui's. 6,000,000. 7,000,000. 4,000,000. In just a short while, the price had broken through the 4,000,000 mark. Forget it. This price is too high. Fei Shui sighed and withdrew from the competition. At this moment, there were still a dozen people bidding. These people were definitely not ordinary. Some of their voices were very old, and they were definitely seniors who had lived for a long time. 5,000,000. Suddenly, a voice reverberated throughout the entire place, causing the entire place to fall silent. In just a short while, the price had increased by 1,000,000 supreme spiritual crystals. It was terrifying. Qin Qingfei. There was a cold smile at the corners of Lu Ming's lips. He could tell that the person who made the bid was Qin Qingfei. 5 million. Is there anyone else bidding? Feng Xiu asked. 1 million. After a moment of silence, someone finally made a bid. 2 million. Qin Qingfei increased the price without hesitation. 3 million. Someone continued to bid. The price continued to rise. Soon, it had exceeded 6 million. At this price, most people had withdrawn from the competition. Only one person was still bidding with Qin Qingfei. 8 million. Qin Qingfei called out a terrifyingly high price. That person was silent for a while. In the end, he sighed and did not say anything. Qin Qingfei was overjoyed. The 2,000 metal element ultimacy crystals were finally going to be his. With these 2,000 metal element ultimacy crystals, his state would be able to break through quickly and reach the limit of level 1 greater mastery. He would then be able to reach level 1 greater mastery. Just as he was thinking about it, a voice interrupted him. 7 million. Someone called out 7 million. Brother Lu. Fei Shui whispered and looked at Lu Ming in surprise. It was Lu Ming who had called out 7 million. Damn it, Lu Ming. Qin Qingfei's eyes were cold. He naturally recognized Lu Ming's voice. 2 million. Qin Qingfei directly increased the price by 200,000 supreme spiritual crystals. 3 million. Lu Ming smiled and added 100,000 supreme grade spirit crystals. 5 million. Qin Qingfei increased the price again. 6 million. Chapter 592. Damn it, damn it. Damn you, you little bastard. Qin Qingfei roared. How could he not know that Lu Ming was raising the price to take revenge on him for raising the price previously? 8 million. Qin Qingfei roared and called out a high price of 8 million. 8,100,000. Lu Ming continued to add another 100,000. Damn it, kid. You're purposely raising the price and disrupting the auction. Qin Qingfei finally couldn't hold it in and roared. Hee hee, what a joke. Who said that I'm raising the price? I'm bidding normally. You're allowed to bid, but I'm not? Lu Ming sneered. Qin Qingfei had said those words to Lu Ming and Fei Shui previously. Now, Lu Ming was returning the words to him. Damn it! 8,300,000. 8,400,000. 9 million. Qin Qingfei shouted out this number hysterically. This was already all he had. Any more, and he couldn't add on. Although he still had a large number of spiritual crystals on him, they were all transferred to him by his father to bid for that precious treasure. 9 million? Young Master Qin is indeed rich. I'm impressed. I'll let you have it then. Lu Ming chuckled and withdrew from the auction. 9 million was already an extremely high price. If he continued to bid, Lu Ming was afraid that Qin Qingfei wouldn't want it. In the end, Qin Qingfei won the bid for 2,000 metal profound crystals for 9 million supreme spiritual crystals. All right, time passes quickly. It's time for the last auction item of the day. This auction item is an extremely rare treasure. Feng Xiu's voice spread throughout the entire place. Everyone's spirits were lifted. Most of them knew that they weren't qualified to participate in the final auction. However, they wanted to watch the show and gain some knowledge. In the future, they could boast to their acquaintances. Many people widened their eyes and waited for Feng Xiu to take out the last treasure. Lu Ming also looked on with interest. He wanted to see what the last treasure was. At this moment, Feng Xiu's palm glowed. A jade bottle appeared in his hand. Jade bottle? Could it be some kind of pill or spiritual liquid? Everyone guessed. Haha, I won't keep you in suspense. This bottle is life water. Feng Xiu's gaze swept across the entire place as he spoke word by word. Whoosh! As soon as Feng Xiu's voice fell, the whole place exploded. What? Water of life? The legendary water of life that can revive the dead? The water of life, a peerless treasure that can heal any injury, no matter how severe it is. How is that possible? Oh my God, are you serious? Ha! Countless gasps of surprise and astonishment could be heard at the scene. Bang! In VIP room 10, Lu Ming also stood up abruptly and looked outside, his eyes emitting a blazing light. The water of life, it was actually the water of life. He had to get it. With the water of life, Lu Yuntian's meridian injuries would be completely healed, and he would be able to step onto the path of martial Dao once more. He had sworn an oath a long time ago that he would find a treasure that could cure Lu Yuntian, but he hadn't come across such a treasure until now. The water of life, it's actually the water of life. Haha, my father has the foresight. This time I must get it. In VIP room 5, Qin Qingfei also stood up, his eyes blazing with passion. Everyone was boiling with excitement, their eyes blazing with passion. Everyone, to be honest with you, this bottle of water of life isn't pure water of life. It has been diluted, and the concentration is only about 1/10 of the pure water of life. Moreover, it's just a rumor to revive the dead. No matter how much pure water of life there is, it can't be done, let alone diluted water of life. However, there's one thing that I'm sure of. Even if it's diluted water of life, as long as it's a physical injury, it can be healed. Even if your arm is chopped off, as long as it's reattached immediately and the diluted water of life drips on the wound, it can be reattached and healed perfectly. Feng Xiu introduced loudly. Even so, the crowd's enthusiasm was still high. The diluted water of life was also a peerless treasure. All right, let's start the auction. The starting price is 5 million supreme grade spirit crystals, and each bid must be at least 200,000 supreme grade spirit crystals. Feng Xiu announced. 5,500,000, 5,800,000, 6 million. Ah! In an instant, someone made a bid. Tianji Chamber of Commerce had long announced that there was a peerless treasure to be auctioned this time. Although they didn't say what the treasure was, it still attracted a lot of people's interest. Many wealthy people had already prepared their spirit crystals and were waiting for them. For example, Qin Qingfei. Now that the water of life was out, there were people bidding one after another. Even if the water of life was diluted, it was equivalent to having an extra life if used well. Who wouldn't be tempted? With the water of life, they could explore more dangerous forbidden lands and ruins to find more precious treasures. The price soared at a terrifying speed. Not long after that, the price of 2,000 metal element crystals had broken through the sky-high price of 9 million, reaching 10 million. 11 million. Qin Qingfei shouted. 11,500,000. Immediately, someone increased the price by 500,000. Deacon Wu, quickly send a voice transmission to my father and ask him to transfer another 20 million supreme grade spirit crystals to me. Today, I must get the water of life. Qin Qingfei said to the middle-aged man beside him. Yes, second young master. The middle-aged man quickly took out a voice transmission jade talisman and began to send a voice transmission. The price continued to rise. Soon, it reached the terrifying price of 15 million, but there were still many people competing. 15,500,000. Qin Qingfei shouted. 16 million. The price continued to rise. When the price reached 20 million, the number of people bidding finally decreased. Many people sighed. 20 million was too terrifying a price. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't compete. Many people who didn't have the financial resources to compete were also excited. 20 million supreme grade spirit crystals was an astronomical figure for most people. However, it was rare to see so many people bidding for a treasure. Being able to see it with their own eyes was also a kind of bragging rights. At this time, only 3 people were still competing. Qin Qingfei was one of them. 23 million. When Qin Qingfei shouted the sky-high price of 23 million, another person withdrew. When Qin Qingfei shouted the price of 25 million, the last person withdrew. Haha, the water of life is mine. You want to compete with the Qin family in terms of financial resources? Dream on. Qin Qingfei laughed. 26 million. At this time, a clear and firm voice sounded. Chapter 593. Lu Ming's bid made the atmosphere at the scene lively again. Someone else is bidding. I thought it would fall into the Qin family's hands. It's him again. It's that young man in VIP room 10 again. Who is he? Not only has he repeatedly gone against Qin Qingfei, but he's also so rich. There was a burst of discussion in the hall. Damn it, it's that little bastard again. Qin Qingfei shouted angrily. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he stared at VIP room 10. In VIP room number 10, flying snow also revealed an extremely curious expression. Lu Ming was really from the Tianqian domain. He had asked for more than 20 million supreme-grade spirit crystals. Was the Tianqian domain that rich? This guest has bid 26 million. Are there any higher bids? If not, this bottle of life elixir will belong to this guest. Feng Xiu shouted, 27 million. Qin Qingfei shouted, 28 million. Lu Ming did not hesitate, 29 million. 30 million. Lu Ming directly raised the price to 30 million. At this moment, there was no sound in the hall. Everyone looked at Lu Ming and Qin Qingfei in a daze. Kid, let me tell you, this bottle of life elixir is highly valued by the Qin family. You've repeatedly gone against the Qin family. Are you courting death? Qin Qingfei shouted angrily. Haha, repeatedly going against the Qin family? What a joke. I remember that I have never taken the initiative to provoke you. You're the one who provoked me every time. Now you're saying that I've repeatedly gone against the Qin family? Lu Ming sneered in response. Kid, if I say you're wrong, then you're wrong. Now stop bidding. I'll bid 30 million and 200 million. Qin Qingfei shouted. What a joke. 31 million. Lu Ming could not be bothered with him and continued to bid. Damn it, damn it. President Feng, I suspect that this person is simply raising the price. He doesn't have that many supreme-grade spiritual crystals. Qin Qingfei shouted. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. This time, Qin Qingfei was right. He did not have that many supreme spiritual crystals with him. Seeing that Lu Ming didn't say anything, Qin Qingfei's eyes lit up. He was overjoyed and said, President Feng, did you see that? This person doesn't dare to speak. I don't think he has that many spirit crystals. I suggest that we check the number of spirit crystals he has. If he doesn't have that many spiritual crystals, then he is disrupting the auction and will be severely punished. Feng Xiu's gaze also looked towards VIP room number 10. The Tianji Chamber of Commerce had a rule that if a bidder failed to produce enough spirit crystals after bidding, it would be considered disrupting the auction and they would be severely punished by the Tianji Chamber of Commerce. In the past, there had been people who had disrupted the auction of the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce, resulting in their cultivation being crippled. Some had even been killed. At this point, no one dared to bid recklessly anymore. Lu Ming was the one who had auctioned off 2,000 supreme spiritual crystals of the metal element. Feng Xiu had known this for a long time, so he thought that Lu Ming should have spirit crystals. However, now that Lu Ming was silent, there must be a problem. Lu Ming opened the window of the VIP room and everyone looked at him. I really don't have that many supreme spiritual crystals. Lu Ming said calmly. There was an uproar in the room. Damn, he really doesn't have that many spirit crystals. It turns out that he is trying to gain something without risking anything. How dare he try to gain something without risking anything in the Tianji Chamber of Commerce? He's courting death. Young man, blinded by greed. He's dead meat now. Many people sighed. Haha, this kid really doesn't have spirit crystals. Haha. Qin Qingfei was overjoyed. He had just said it casually out of anger. He never expected that Lu Ming would be so bold as to not have any supreme spiritual crystals. Brother Lu, don't admit it first. I'll think of a way to get a batch of spirit crystals for you. Fei Xue's expression changed greatly as she whispered hurriedly. Miss Fei Xue, there's no need for that. Lu Ming waved his hand. His face was still calm. He looked at Feng Xiu and asked, President Feng, how many spirit crystals do I have left after deducting the spirit crystals I bought from the auction? Feng Xiu was bewildered. Her eyes sparkled as she said, You've used 1,600,000 top-quality spirit crystals in 2 auctions. You sold 2,000 metal Upanishad crystals for 9 million. After deducting the 5% commission, you have 6,900,000 spirit crystals left. As soon as he said that, everyone was stunned again. What? Those 2,000 metal power Upanishad crystals belong to him? Damn, I thought some senior expert put them up for auction. It's actually his. How could he have so many supreme spiritual crystals? Everyone was surprised and curious. However, the remaining 6 million spirit crystals were not enough. As for Qin Qingfei, he was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He never dreamed that the 2,000 supreme spiritual crystals were Lu Ming's. Previously, Lu Ming had purposely raised the price so that he had to spend 9 million to buy the 2,000 supreme spiritual crystals. Thinking of this, he was so angry that his chest hurt. Kid, so what if it's yours? It's far from 31 million. If you can't take out so many supreme spiritual crystals today, I'll see how you die. Qin Qingfei gritted his teeth. Fei Xue's beautiful eyes flickered as she looked at Lu Ming in surprise. She did not expect that the 2,000 metal attribute profundity crystals would belong to Lu Ming. Lu Ming, you bid 31 million supreme spiritual crystals. Can you take out 31 million supreme spiritual crystals? Qin Qingfei asked loudly. I don't have any supreme spiritual crystals. However, I can use the supreme spiritual crystals to offset it, Lu Ming said calmly. Offset it with supreme spiritual crystals? What a joke. You've already taken out 2,000 supreme spiritual crystals. I don't believe that you have more. Qin Qingfei continued to clamor. However, before he could finish, he was almost blinded by a golden light. Lu Ming waved his hand, and a pile of supreme spiritual crystals appeared in the air. Each of them was shining with golden light and emitted a strong, intent realm aura. All of them were supreme spiritual crystals of the metal element. So many? All of them are supreme spiritual crystals of the metal element. How many pieces are there? Nestle, did he get a large supreme spiritual crystal mine? Everyone was shocked. Many people stared at the pile of supreme spiritual crystals in the air with burning eyes. Qin Qingfei's eyes were wide open. He was tongue-tied and dumbfounded. He swallowed the rest of the words he wanted to say. Fei Xue's beautiful eyes flickered as she looked at Lu Ming with curiosity. Here are 5,000 supreme spiritual crystals of the metal element. I won't take them out for auction. President Feng, do you accept supreme spiritual crystals? Lu Ming said to Feng Xiu. Yes, of course. How about this? My heavenly secret chamber of commerce will buy all 5,000 supreme spiritual crystals. The price? Feng Xiu was overjoyed and was about to say the price. President Feng, wait a minute. Before Feng Xiu could state the price, Lu Ming spoke again, interrupting Feng Xiu. Chapter 594. Feng Xiu looked at Lu Ming in confusion. However, in the next moment, his pupils suddenly shrank. Lu Ming waved his hand again, and another pile of profound crystals appeared in the air. This time, Each of the profound sense crystals was sparkling with a blue light, releasing a strong intent domain aura that could enchant people. This time, it was a water-attributed profound crystal. Profound crystals. Gosh, more profound crystals. They are not any less than those metal-attributed profound crystals. How is this possible? Who is this person? I have never seen him before. Could he be an exceptional genius from a super large region? Is it possible? He bid for the trans-region token earlier. He must be a genius from another large region. No wonder he has so many profound crystals. Once again, intense discussions broke out at the scene. Fei Xue, Qin Qingfei, and the others looked at Lu Ming in shock. President Feng, here are 5,000 water-attributed profound crystals and 5,000 metal-attributed profound crystals, a total of 10,000 pieces. Sell them all. Lu Ming said. All right, I will take them all. I will pay 40 million spirit crystals for the 10,000 profound crystals. What do you think? Feng Xiu said. All right. Lu Ming agreed immediately. 40 million spirit crystals was not low. An average of 2,000 pieces was equivalent to 8 million spirit crystals. Although 2,000 spirit crystals were sold for 9 million spirit crystals, that was because Lu Ming raised the price. Under normal circumstances, they might not be able to sell for 9 million spirit crystals. However, there were more of them now. 5,000 spirit crystals per set. After the Secret Chamber of Commerce bought them, they would publicize them. When they auctioned them, they would definitely sell them for a higher price. After all, the more profound crystals there were, the higher the price. 5,000 spirit crystals per set was more tempting than 2,000 spirit crystals per set. Lu Ming took out a storage ring and put the 10,000 profound crystals into it. Then he tossed it to Feng Xiu. Many people's eyes were burning. If it were outside, someone would have already tried to snatch them. However, this was the Secret Chamber of Commerce. Who would have the guts? Unless they did not want to live anymore. If they offended the Secret Chamber of Commerce, even the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace would not be able to protect them. Some people looked at Lu Ming with burning eyes. Lu Ming had so many power Upanishad crystals. Did he have more? Many people had different thoughts. Lu Ming originally didn't want to be so ostentatious, but he couldn't do it. He had to obtain the life water. Moreover, he was going back tomorrow. He was not worried about leaving this place. At this time, Lu Ming looked at Qin Qingfei again with a mocking expression. Now, I have spiritual crystals to bid, right? Damn it. Qin Qingfei growled. His eyes were filled with fury and killing intent. 32 million. Qin Qingfei gritted his teeth and continued to bid. 33 million. Lu Ming raised the price without hesitation. 34 million. 35 million. 40 million. In a few moments, Lu Ming raised the price to 40 million. At this time, Qin Qingfei was already trembling all over. His eyes were red as he stared at Lu Ming. Quick, send a voice transmission to my father and get another batch of spiritual crystals. Qin Qingfei shouted at the middle-aged man. At this time, he was no longer competing for the life water. Instead, he was competing with Lu Ming. Second young master, you should give up. Master just sent a message to ask you to give up. 40 million is too high. Don't compete. The middle-aged man said. What? Don't compete? How can I not compete? Qin Qingfei was trembling all over. He gritted his teeth. Why? No more spiritual crystals? If you don't have any, just give up. Lu Ming sneered. This made Qin Qingfei so angry that his chest hurt again. He had completely lost today's auction. Brat, just you wait. Qin Qingfei left behind these words and left dejectedly with the middle-aged, burly man. 40 million? Is there anyone who wants to bid higher? Feng Xiu looked around. However, how could anyone bid for 40 million? Feng Xiu asked 3 times in a row. In the end, the life water was bought by Lu Ming. Following the conclusion of the bidding for the water of life, the soul-stirring auction also came to an end. Haha, little brother, how should I address you? After the crowd dispersed, Feng Xiu took the water of life and walked into VIP room 10 with a candid smile. Junior Lu Ming greets Senior Feng. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, Haha, brother Lu, there's no need to be so polite. This is your life water. Feng Xiu handed the life water to Lu Ming. Subsequently, he took out a storage ring and passed it to Lu Ming. The 40 million spirit crystals for the water of life can be offset by the 10,000 profound crystals. There are 6,950,000 supreme grade spirit crystals here. Please check. No need. Lu Ming took the storage ring and put it away. The Tianji Chamber of Commerce was spread all over the continent and had existed for countless years. There was no doubt about its reputation. Lu Ming was not worried about this. Then Lu Ming, Flying Snow, and Feng Xiu bade farewell and left the Tianji auction house. Brother Lu, don't show off your wealth. You took out so many ultimacy crystals this time. I'm afraid some people will remember it. You have to be careful. Along the way, Flying Snow warned. They dare to make a move in Grand City? Lu Ming asked. Most people don't dare to do it in Grand City. However, we can't rule out some people who might take the risk. It's better to be careful, Flying Snow said. Lu Ming nodded. Miss Flying Snow, I'll be the host today. Will you accept my invitation? Lu Ming smiled faintly and looked at Fei Xue. He and Flying Snow met by chance, but Flying Snow had taken care of him many times. Lu Ming felt that he could make friends with Flying Snow. All right, Flying Snow agreed straightforwardly. The two of them found a restaurant and ate and drank to their heart's content. Brother Lu, with your cultivation at such a young age, I'm afraid it won't be long before you make it to the list of top 1,000 talents in Eastern Wilderness. After a few glasses of wine, Flying Snow's cheeks were flushed and her eyes were watery. She was extremely beautiful. List of top 1,000 talents in Eastern Wilderness? Lu Ming whispered, a glimmer of light flashing in his eyes. Soon he would be fighting against Saint Star on the list of top 1,000 talents. With Brother Lu's talent, I believe it's only a matter of time before you make it to the list of top 1,000 talents in Eastern Wilderness. Perhaps you can even participate in the Battle of Providence in 2 years. Flying Snow smiled faintly, as beautiful as a divine flower. To be honest, Flying Snow's appearance and temperament were not inferior to Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, or Mulin's. She was one of the most beautiful women Lu Ming had ever met. Battle of Providence. Lu Ming was puzzled. This was the first time he had heard of it. Yes, the Battle of Providence is very important. At that time, all the geniuses in Eastern Wilderness will participate. Not only the human clan, but even the demon clan will participate. Brother Lu, haven't you heard of it? Flying Snow said. No, all the geniuses in Eastern Wilderness will participate? Lu Ming was very curious. Actually, I'm not too sure either. I only know that the Battle of Providence is held once every 20 years. It involves not only the Eastern Barren Territory, but also the Middle Continent, the Southern Underworld, the Western Desert, and the Northern Plains. However, there won't be any competition between each other. It will be a competition within each region. When the time comes, the 4 dominating forces of the Eastern Barren Territory and countless smaller forces will have an intense competition. I heard that most of those who can stand out in the Battle of Providence will become the most powerful experts in the continent. Chapter 595. Lu Ming was extremely curious. It involved the entire divine, desolate continent. How shocking! He wanted to ask more, but Fei Xue did not know much. She had only heard about it from her elders. At this moment, Qin Qingfei was discussing something with a few people in a luxurious hall in Hong City. Second young master, Are you really going to make a move on Lu Ming? But in Hom City, apart from some special places, you can't make a move. What if? A middle-aged man said worriedly. What are you afraid of? If anything happens, I'll take responsibility. That kid has too much wealth. Apart from the water of life, who knows how many more profound crystals he has. We can't let him go. Qin Qingfei's eyes flashed with greed. Since that's the case, young master, who do you plan to send? It must be done cleanly. It's best if no one finds out. The middle-aged man said, Let the 3 phantom killers go. The 3 of them are all peak 9th layer Martial King. They're very good at cooperating with each other. Once, a peak king died in their hands. More importantly, no one knows that they're on our side. Even if they do find out, they won't know it was us. Qin Qingfei sneered. Second young master, good idea. I'll do it right away. After saying this, the middle-aged man left in a hurry. Kid, no matter how many treasures you have, they'll all be mine in the end. Qin Qingfei muttered as a cold smile appeared on the corners of his mouth. In the restaurant, the 2 chatted as they ate. When the auction ended, it was already evening. After 3 rounds of drinks, night had fallen. Thank you for today's banquet, Brother Lu. Fei Xue will take her leave now. I'll bring Brother Lu to the teleportation platform tomorrow. Fei Xue got up and left. Thank you. Lu Ming nodded. After Fei Xue left, Lu Ming also paid the bill and left. Lu Ming's heart stirred. He did not return to the original inn. Instead, he turned a few streets and changed to another inn so that he would not be targeted. Walking into the room, the water of life appeared in his hand. He opened the jade bottle and a strong aura of life spread out. The water of life, this was the water of life. Lu Ming closed the bottle and a trace of excitement appeared in his eyes. Father, your injuries can finally be healed. Lu Ming muttered. Back then, Lu Yuntian was also a genius martial artist. As a martialist himself, Lu Ming knew very well what kind of pain it was to be unable to cultivate. Although Lu Yuntian didn't express it in front of them, that didn't mean that he didn't desire to cultivate. Lu Ming knew full well that Lu Yuntian yearned for it. Lu Ming had been working hard for this. With that, Lu Ming stored the water of life in the Temple of Paragon. Right at this moment, a sense of crisis suddenly descended upon him. Danger! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Whoosh! 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 At this moment, more than 10 vines suddenly appeared in the room and wrapped around Lu Ming. Lu Ming waved his hand, and a spear light swept out, shattering the vines and rushing out of the room. Boom! Just as Lu Ming rushed out of the room, a huge metal bottle above his head fell toward Lu Ming. From the metal bottle, a large net shot out and covered Lu Ming. Below Lu Ming, vines that resembled venomous snakes coiled around Lu Ming. Whoosh! 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 In the night, 3 figures flashed and pounced on Lu Ming like ghosts. The 3 figures each gave off a powerful aura of the peak LV9 Martial King realm. You're courting death! Lu Ming bellowed as his aura surged. With the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps, heaven and earth rumbled and the vines below exploded. At the same time, a spear light, which contained a powerful cutting power of the wind concept, rushed toward the net and shattered it. Clang! 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 At this moment, the 3 figures attacked with their strongest attacks. A wisp of sword chi and a saber light attacked Lu Ming's 2 vitals from the left and right at a shocking speed. However, the most terrifying thing was that an arrow tore through the night sky like a streak of light, aiming for Lu Ming's back. It was simply too fast. Above his head, the metal bottle continued to press down. This was a sure-kill situation. If caught off guard, even a peak king would be killed. Unfortunately, Lu Ming's current battle strength had far surpassed normal peak kings. 10,000 dragons kill. Lu Ming stabbed out with his spear, and hundreds of tricolor dragons danced in all directions. Pum! The jade bottle was sent flying far away by the dozens of tricolor true dragons. The two assassins on the left and right coughed out large mouthfuls of blood after being hit by the dragons. They screamed as their bodies cracked and died on the spot. As for the arrow, it was the most powerful one. It broke through the dozens of tricolor dragons, but it also disappeared. "Let's go." Behind him, a figure holding a bow changed his expression and continued to flee into the distance. "You want to leave after trying to assassinate me?" Lu Ming took a step forward and used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps. At this moment, the shock waves of the battle had already spread out in the night. Countless figures appeared in the surroundings to watch. How bold! Someone actually dares to attack in Hong City. That's that youth from the auction. Indeed, someone was greedy and wanted to steal the treasure. Looks like he kicked an iron plate. That youth's battle strength is too terrifying. He's even stronger than a Peak King. Discussions could be heard in the night sky. Someone recognized Lu Ming. There were even some people who had coveted Lu Ming. At this moment, they were secretly glad that they didn't attack. Otherwise, they would have died. The black figure was extremely fast, but Lu Ming was even faster and caught up with him in a few steps. Die. A spear light flashed, and the figure was nailed to the ground, no matter how much he roared. Lu Ming's figure flashed as he devoured the essence, blood of the 3, and took their storage rings. Then he left. Soon, Lu Ming appeared 200 miles away. He found a secluded place and entered the Temple of Paragon. No one would be able to find him in the Temple of Paragon. "I wonder who sent someone to assassinate me. Qin Qingfei?" Lu Ming immediately thought of Qin Qingfei. He had changed his residence temporarily, but he was found in just a few minutes. This showed how powerful the person behind this was. Of course, he couldn't rule out others. Killing intent flashed in Lu Ming's eyes, but he shook his head. He was going to leave tomorrow anyway, and he didn't want to cause trouble. Then he closed his eyes and started cultivating. Not long after, Qin Qingfei's angry roar could be heard from his palace. "What? I killed Ghost Shadow 3, and then I lost track of that kid. Trash, all trash!" Qin Qingfei roared. "Second young master, that kid's battle strength is far above our estimation. I'm afraid he's not weaker than a Peak King. He might even be slightly stronger than an ordinary Peak King," the middle-aged man said with a frown. Qin Qingfei took a deep breath and said coldly, "Looks like we have to ask Big Brother for help." "Second young master wants to ask first young master?" The middle-aged man was shocked. "That's right. That kid wants to use the interdomain teleportation formation. How naive." Chapter 596. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, the sun had risen. Lu Ming sent a message to Fei Shui and then headed in the direction of the interdomain teleportation formation. Lu Ming saw Fei Shui outside the palace. "Brother Lu, I received news that you were assassinated last night. I've been sending messages to you, but I couldn't send them out. I thought something had happened to you." Fei Shui asked worriedly when she saw Lu Ming. It seemed that Fei Shui had received the news last night. "Just a few clowns. It's not a big deal." Lu Ming smiled. He had been in the Temple of Paragon for most of the time, so he couldn't send any messages. Light flashed in Fei Shui's eyes. She had received news that the assassins weren't clowns, but people with powerful cultivation. According to the corpses, they had concluded that the assassins were the famous triple ghostly shadow kills. One could imagine how powerful the assassins were to be able to escape unscathed from the triple ghostly shadow kills. Fei Shui was even more curious. Was Lu Ming really from the Tianxian domain? As far as she knew, only those on the list of top 1,000 talents in the Tianxian domain could have such combat strength. "Miss Fei Shui, let's go to the interdomain teleportation formation," Lu Ming said. "Okay." Fei Shui nodded and led Lu Ming to the interdomain teleportation formation. After passing through 12 checkpoints, they appeared in a huge square. From afar, there was a huge altar-like structure in the center of the square. It was the interdomain teleportation formation. Around the altar, there were rows of soldiers in metal armor standing guard. These soldiers were not ordinary soldiers. Each of them exuded a powerful aura. Most of them were peak LV6 Martial King Realm cultivators, and some were even Great King Realm experts. This is an important place. What are you doing here? With a cold shout, a middle-aged man appeared in front of the two. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. This middle-aged man was Qin Qingfei's eighth uncle, who had appeared last time. I'm here to take the interdomain teleportation formation. Lu Ming said, You're still here? Didn't I tell you last time that there are no more places? Leave now. The middle-aged man waved his hand casually. I have my own place, Lu Ming said as he took out the interdomain token. The middle-aged man's eyes darkened when he saw the token in Lu Ming's teleportation token. With the realm teleportation token, as long as one's identity was clean, one would be able to use the realm teleportation formation. So you bid for a trans-region token. All right, you have the right to take the trans-region teleportation formation. Which region do you want to go to? You can't be more than 20 regions away from the Hong domain. The middle-aged man said, Tianxian domains. Lu Ming said, Domain, Tianxian domain? The middle-aged man's of Tianchuan's view. The middle-aged man waved his hand. At this moment, a gloomy voice sounded. Was of Lu of eyes upon hearing this voice. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold and he turned around. Two young silhouettes were rushing over at high speed. One of them was Qin Qingfei. The other person was wearing a green robe. He was tall and slender, and his face was cold. He exuded a cold and terrifying aura. Qin Qingshan. Fei Xue suddenly exclaimed as she looked at the green-robed man in surprise. Qingfei, Qingshan, why are you here? When the middle-aged man saw Qin Qingfei and Qin Qingshan, he smiled and greeted them. Eighth uncle, Big Brother and I are here to capture an audacious man. Qin Qingfei sneered as he looked at Lu Ming and shouted, Lu Ming, how dare you steal from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's treasury and steal a large number of ultimacy crystals? Kneel down and await your punishment. I stole from the treasury? Which eye of yours saw it? Lu Ming sneered. Is there a need to stare? The ultimacy crystals that you took out were stolen from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's treasury. You still have them in your storage ring. Take them out for inspection. Qin Qingfei shouted. Qin Qingfei, you're spouting nonsense. The treasury of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace is extremely well guarded. Even a Sea of Soul Realm expert wouldn't be able to barge in, let alone Lu Ming. You're simply spouting nonsense. Fei Xue shouted angrily. Qin Qingfei was clearly trying to pin a crime on Lu Ming without any evidence. How could she not be angry? Fei Xue, this is the truth. Are you trying to protect him? Qin Qingfei shouted. You, Fei Xue's chest heaved. She had never seen such a shameless person. Flying Snow, just step aside. No matter what, I will not let you pass. No matter what, this kid must stay and undergo inspection. If he's innocent, he'll be released. Qin Qingshan stepped forward and said, although his voice was calm, it was filled with a commanding tone. Qin Qingshan, as a genius on the list of top 1,000 talents, you're actually as shameless as your brother? Fei Xue shouted. I said, take this kid down first. Once he's innocent, he'll be released. Qin Qingshan said indifferently as he stepped forward. A cold aura emanated from his body and pressed down on Lu Ming. Kid, do you want me to do it, or do you want me to do it myself? If you hurt yourself, don't say that I'm too ruthless. Qin Qingshan looked at Lu Ming indifferently. Although he knew that Lu Ming had killed the triple phantom kill, he still didn't care about it. This was because he was a genius on the list of top 1,000 talents, ranked 999th. Qin Qing Shan! Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He remembered that he had seen Qin Qing Shan's name on the list of top 1,000 talents. He was ranked 999th after Saint Star. I'd like to see how powerful a genius on the list of top 1,000 talents is. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. You want to fight with me? Huh? Qin Qing Shan chuckled, but everyone could hear the disdain in his voice. Haha, kid, you want to fight with my big brother? You're overestimating yourself. Qin Qingfei laughed. Brother Lu, Fei Xue exclaimed softly. She knew how terrifying Qin Qing Shan was. It's okay. Lu Ming smiled, and the fighting spirit in his eyes intensified. He was about to fight with Saint Star when he returned to Tianxian domain. What harm was there in testing the strength of a genius on the list of top 1,000 talents? Lu Ming, right? You're not bad. Half a year ago, you might have been qualified to fight with me, but now you're far from it. Qin Qing Shan smiled faintly and stepped forward. Boom! A powerful aura rushed out from Qin Qing Shan's body. It was mighty and filled the air. The huge pressure was like a huge mountain, pressing down on Lu Ming. Peak King! Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Qin Qing Shan's cultivation had reached the Peak King realm. He had just said that Lu Ming could fight with him half a year ago, which meant that he was still a Peak King half a year ago. Now he had broken through. Chapter 597. Come on. If you can defeat me, I don't mind staying. A strong aura shot up to the sky and broke through Qin Qing Shan's pressure. Yes, Qin Qing Shan's ranking was one rank lower than Shang Xing's. If he could not defeat Qin Qing Shan, then even if he returned to the Tianxian region, he would most likely not be Shang Xing's match. What was the difference between returning and not returning? You've got guts. Let me see what you've got. An extremely cold concept emanated from Qin Qing Shan's body. The surrounding temperature dropped rapidly, and a layer of ice even formed on the ground. Ice concept. Qin Qing Shan had comprehended the ice concept. Wang! A ray of icy cold saber gleam shot out from Qin Qing Shan's body. It was extremely cold as it slashed violently toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming clenched his fist, and a long spear condensed and stabbed forward. This spear only contained the two concepts of wind and fire. Boom! The blade radiance and spear radiance collided, and a strong force shot out in all directions. Ice and fire filled the air, and a strong wind howled. Kacha kacha! The armored soldiers moved and stood in a row. Rays of true origin radiance emanated from their bodies and neutralized the strong force that shot out in all directions. Qin Qingfei retreated quickly and avoided the strong force that shot out rapidly. As for Fei Xue, she took a few steps back and avoided the strong force that shot out in all directions. Her beautiful eyes stared at the field. As for Qin Qingfei's eighth uncle, he took 2 steps back and blocked the strong force. After the explosion, Lu Ming and Qin Qing Shan did not move at all. So you've comprehended 2 concepts. Interesting. Take my next move, Proud Snow Ice Blade Cut. Qin Qing Shan shouted coldly, and an even stronger blade radiance burst out and slashed towards Lu Ming. This was a blade radiance that was condensed from the concept and true origin. It was bone-chilling, and wherever the blade radiance passed, snow-white ice crystals appeared in the air. This blade radiance was stronger than the previous one. Boom! At this moment, Lu Ming's body was surrounded by flames. Within the flames, there were traces of lightning. Outside the lightning, a strong wind howled. Wind, fire, and lightning. The 3 concepts exploded at the same time. True dragon strike. A dragon roar resounded, and a tricolored true dragon flew out and clashed heavily with the icy saber light. Immediately, the state spread out and true essence tyrannized. On Qin Qingshan's side, waves of cold waves spread out and a thick layer of ice crystals formed on the ground. On Lu Ming's side, the intent realm of the three colors was wreaking havoc. This move was also a draw. 3 concepts. Qin Qingshan's face was extremely gloomy. As for Qin Qingfei, Flying Snow, and the others, they were dumbstruck. Lu Ming's strength exceeded their expectations. Not bad, you can make me serious. Qin Qingshan's voice rang out. His palm glowed, and a war blade that was filled with an incomparable chill appeared in his hand. Just to get serious? A cold smile appeared on Lu Ming's face as the wind thunder spear appeared in his hand. A surging battle intent rose as a spear, glow, soared into the sky. Prideful Snow, 8 slashes. Qin Qingshan shouted. His body brought a gust of cold wind as he pounced on Lu Ming. The snow-white and icy saber light violently slashed out from Qin Qingshan's hand. After the first slash, the second slash followed. One slash after another, and the power was incomparably terrifying. At this moment, the true essence in Lu Ming's body was boiling. His strong body that had reached rank 7 also erupted. Together with the 3 concepts, it turned into a dazzling spear light and blasted out. Boom! Boom! The 2 figures collided. The saber light and spear light bombarded wantonly. The sky and the earth trembled slightly as the 2 collided, as if they could not withstand the bombardment of their power. The 2 fought from the ground to the sky, and in an instant they had exchanged dozens of blows. Whoosh! Whoosh! Immediately, the 2 separated and stood on opposite sides of the void. Qin Qingshan's eyes were extremely gloomy, and his killing intent was like a storm. He was a peerless genius on the list of top 1,000 talents in Eastern Wilderness. Throughout history, he was the only one who could defeat others of a higher level. Now Lu Ming's cultivation was at the peak of LV9 Martial King realm, and he could not win decisively. If news of this spread out, his reputation would definitely be greatly tarnished. This was something he could not bear. Therefore, he decided that today not only would he stop Lu Ming, but he would also take his life. Only by killing Lu Ming could he restore his reputation. Kill! Qin Qingshan roared, and his aura became stronger. Buzz! But at this moment, the altar of the interdomain transmission formation not far away emitted a dazzling light. Countless rays of light gathered in the air, forming a huge vortex. In the vortex, a light flashed, and a figure suddenly appeared on the altar. It was a man who looked to be in his 30s. His long hair was loose, and he was casually wearing a gray robe. A large wine gourd hung at his waist. Rumble! Just as the man appeared, the vortex in the sky did not disappear. Instead, it shook violently and roared. Nest, didn't I just eat one of your eggs? Do you need to chase after me? The man murmured. However, in the next moment, a loud roar was heard from the vortex. A claw covered in scales reached out from the vortex and grabbed at the man. The man's figure flashed and flew down from the altar. Bang! That claw slammed into the altar, causing it to rumble. Then it actually exploded, turning into rubble that splattered everywhere. As soon as the altar was destroyed, the vortex shrank rapidly. An unwilling roar was heard from the vortex. The claw covered in scales was withdrawn and disappeared. Oh, the interdomain transmission formation is destroyed. It seems like I have to travel on my own. I thought I could slack off a little. The man murmured as he took up the wine gourd at his waist and gulped down a few mouthfuls. Everyone at the scene stared at the man with their mouths agape. Who was this man? Why did he suddenly appear? Most importantly, the interdomain transmission formation was destroyed because of him. How could this be? Lu Ming's eyes widened rapidly. He could not accept this. How could he go back now that the interdomain transmission formation was destroyed? Half a year's time had already passed. Someone destroyed the interdomain transmission formation. Go, take him down. Qingfei's eighth uncle suddenly reacted and let out a hysterical roar. He was in charge of the interdomain transmission formation. Now that the interdomain transmission formation was destroyed in front of him, he would not be able to escape punishment. The hundreds of soldiers at the scene moved and surrounded the man. Hundreds of powerful auras gathered and were terrifying. Among these hundreds of people, the weakest was a sixth-layer martial king. More than 50 of them were kings in the greater success stage. Even a peak king would have to retreat in fear when facing such a force. However, the man did not seem to see it. He picked up the wine gourd again and gulped down the wine. Speak, who are you? Why did you destroy the interdomain transmission formation of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace? Tell me the truth, and I can leave your corpse intact. Chapter 598. I say, brother, you don't look old, but your eyes are blurred. This altar was clearly destroyed by that claw. What does it have to do with me? The robust man said, and then drank a few more mouthfuls of wine. His expression was wanton, unruly, and unrestrained. Nonsense. That claw was obviously drawn by you. No, I suspect that it was a trick you used. You condensed it. Now surrender. Qingfei's eighth uncle berated loudly. The robust man looked around and actually laughed, saying, Looks like there's still a good show to watch here. Come one by one. When you're done, we'll talk about my matter. Then he actually took out a chair, sat down, and drank a few more mouthfuls of wine. Good wine, really good wine. Why don't you have a few mouthfuls? It's free. The robust man looked around and said, Acting crazy. Attack, take him down. Qingfei's eighth uncle roared, Kill! Kill! Hundreds of armored soldiers shouted, and their auras were like rainbows. Hundreds of powerful genuine converged, forming a huge palm that grabbed at the robust man. This was a joint attack, with hundreds of armored soldiers working together. Even a peak king would be suppressed instantly without any chance to escape. However, the robust man didn't even bat an eyelid. He opened his mouth and drank another mouthful of wine. Then he opened his mouth, and a drop of wine flew out. The robust man flicked this drop of wine, and it flew toward the huge palm in the sky. There was no sound, but a shocking scene appeared. When this drop of wine touched the huge palm silently collapsed and disappeared. Everyone present opened their eyes wide in shock. A drop of wine easily defeated the joint attack of hundreds of armored soldiers. What kind of cultivation was this? Sea of Soul Realm. You're a Sea of Soul Realm expert. Qingfei's eighth uncle cried out in shock. The robust man didn't answer. He drank 2 more mouthfuls of wine and said, You guys continue your matter. When you're done, we'll talk about my matter. Qingfei's eighth uncle's expression was uncertain. He took out a sound transmission jade talisman and sent out a few messages. Then he said to Qingshan, quickly take down that kid. I've already sent a message to the palace master and the others. They'll be here soon. Okay. Qingshan nodded and looked at Lu Ming again. Lu Ming, I didn't think that there would be an expert like you in Tianqian region. Now that the teleportation array is destroyed, you can't return to Tianqian region. Let's have a good fight. Qingshan's battle intent and his saber light. Lu Ming stared in the direction of the altar, feeling somewhat indignant. Now, it seemed like he couldn't return in a short period of time, after which he looked at Qingshan and said in a firm voice, If you want to fight, I will keep you company. With Qingshan ice. Qingshan shouted. In the next moment, his body emitted an even colder aura. His entire body seemed to become transparent, as if he had turned into a block of ice. Even his hair turned white. However, his aura was even stronger. Tianqian region? When the robust man heard the words Tianqian region, his eyes lit up. He looked at Lu Ming with interest. Fight! Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand. His long hair flew in the wind, and his aura was strong. Without saying anything, Lu Ming stepped out. The long spear emitted a bright light, and it quickly became as big as a mountain. It charged towards Qin Qingshan. Break for me! Qin Qingshan opened his mouth and spat out a river of ice. It charged towards the spear light. Boom! There was an earth-shattering roar, and the spear light flew up. Lu Ming used the force to fly up into the sky. Slash! In the next moment, Qin Qingshan slashed out a mighty saber light. It was terrifying, and the void shook as if it was going to be split in half. 9 dragons in the sky. Lu Ming let out a long howl and took a step forward. Then a second step, a third step. After 3 steps, the space exploded. The saber light dissipated in the air. Swoosh! Qin Qingshan became one with the saber and turned into a saber light. He charged towards Lu Ming. Boom! The two collided. Their bodies retreated slightly, and then they collided again. At that moment, Qin Qingshan was a notch stronger than before. The saber gleams whistled continuously and swept towards Lu Ming continuously. Lu Ming wielded his spear like a dragon. The long spear danced and the dragon roared. He fought fiercely with Qin Qingshan. However, Lu Ming slowly fell into a disadvantageous position. A Peak King, also known as a half-step into the spiritual sea realm, was only half a step away from the spiritual sea realm. They were extremely powerful. A Peak King, in terms of combat power, was 2 levels stronger than a Peak 9th Realm Martial King martial artist. As for Qin Qingshan, he was originally a peerless genius. He could fight across 2 levels. An ordinary Peak King could be killed by Qin Qingshan in 1 move. Although Lu Ming was strong, his cultivation was only at the Peak 9th Realm Martial King. He was still suppressed by Qin Qingshan. However, it was not that easy for Qin Qingshan to defeat Lu Ming. In the blink of an eye, dozens of moves had passed. Although Lu Ming was at a disadvantage, he still managed to resist tenaciously. Is this the talent on the list of top 1,000 talents in the Eastern Wilderness? He is indeed powerful. Lu Ming's mind raced. Kid, do you want me to inscribe inscriptions for you to release genuine core power? Dandin whispered in Lu Ming's ear. No need. Lu Ming replied. During this period of time, his cultivation had risen too quickly, and it could be described as crazy. His strength had risen too quickly, and it was not so easy to completely control it. He needed a period of time to adapt and break in. Now he could borrow Qin Qingshan to train his own strength, so that he could achieve perfect control of his own strength. The battle continued, but at this moment, 3 figures silently appeared. Their bodies emitted an incomparably terrifying aura. Palace Master, Vice Palace Master Qin, Vice Palace Master Wang, you are here. This is the person who destroyed the teleportation altar. Qin Qingfei's 8th uncle was overjoyed when he saw the 3 of them. He flew over and bowed respectfully. The leader was a white-haired old man with a ruddy complexion. He was the palace master of the Hong Domain Branch Palace of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. The other 2 were middle-aged. One was a middle-aged man and the other was a middle-aged woman. The 3 of them looked extremely gloomy as they looked at the middle-aged man. However, when the palace master of the Hong Domain Branch Palace saw the middle-aged man, his expression changed. He was shocked and respectful. How dare you destroy the interdomain teleportation formation of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace? Speak, who are you? The middle-aged man looked at the middle-aged man and scolded him. Vice Palace Master Qin, don't be rude. The white-haired palace master suddenly shouted. The others were stunned and looked at the white-haired palace master in confusion. Haha, Lord Yen, why are you in the Hong domain? Chapter 599. Everyone else was stunned. Then they looked at the man in his prime with shock and astonishment. Is he a big shot in the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace? Otherwise, why would the white-haired palace master, an existence akin to a regional official, a spirit sea realm palace master of a large region, be so respectful to him? The strong man glanced at the white-haired palace master casually, took a sip of wine, and said, "Look over there, look over there!" He pointed at the battle between Lu Ming and Qin Qingshan and continued to watch with interest. The white-haired palace master did not dare to say anything and also watched. When they saw it, the faces of the palace masters changed. A peak 9th realm martial king with such combat strength. Who is he? There is no such person in the Hong domain. Where is he from? The white-haired palace master could not help but ask. He, I heard that he is from the Tianqian domain. How is it? He is quite strong. The robust man chuckled. So he is from the same place as Lord Yen. The Tianqian domain is really full of talents. The white-haired palace master sighed and flattered the strong man. The others on the side seemed to have thought of something, and their faces changed. They looked at the strong man in awe. Lu Ming and Qin Qingshan were unaware of all these. The battle between the two of them had already reached its climax. Qin Qingshan exerted all his strength without holding back. Today he had to defeat Lu Ming. However, although Lu Ming was at a disadvantage, he was extremely tenacious and was held back by Lu Ming. Moreover, Lu Ming seemed to be getting braver as the battle went on. Delightful, delightful. I'm becoming more and more proficient in controlling my own strength. I'm becoming more and more proficient. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. At this moment, the two had already exchanged more than 100 blows. Although Qin Qingshan was strong, he could not do anything to him. Lu Ming had some idea of the combat strength of the top talents on the list of top 1,000 talents in the Eastern Wilderness. At least, he had some idea of the last few people. Saint Star was ranked before Qin Qingshan, but only one place higher. Even if he was stronger than Qin Qingshan, his strength was limited. Boom! With a loud explosion, the two of them were sent flying backwards. Lu Ming retreated 200 meters, while Qin Qingshan retreated 150 meters. That's right. Let's end this battle. At this moment, the robust man spoke. Qin Qingshan casually swept a glance over and could not be bothered with them. With a loud roar, he was about to charge towards Lu Ming. "Qingshan, stop!" Vice Palace Master Qin shouted softly. With a wave of his hand, a force blocked in front of Qin Qingshan. "Father, why are you stopping me? Today I must destroy him." Qin Qingshan roared. If he couldn't thoroughly defeat Lu Ming in today's battle, his reputation would definitely be greatly affected. He was already at the bottom of the list of top 1,000 talents to begin with. Now that the next ranking of the list of top 1,000 talents was refreshed, he might fall out of the list. This was hard for him to accept. "Qingshan, I told you to stop, so stop!" Vice Palace Master Qin's face darkened as he scolded. Qin Qingshan's expression changed. His father rarely lost his temper with him. What was wrong with him today? Then he glanced around and saw the white-haired princess standing respectfully beside the robust man. His eyes flashed as if he had thought of something. He glanced at Lu Ming unwillingly and then went to Vice Palace Master Qin's side. "Haha, it's over. I'll take my leave then." The robust man stood up and stretched. With a wave of his hand, the chair on the ground disappeared. The robust man strode towards Lu Ming. "Young man, come with me." The robust man said to Lu Ming, "Come with you." Lu Ming's eyes flashed and his face darkened. To be honest, he did not have a good impression of this robust man. If not for him, the interdomain teleportation formation would not have been destroyed. "Young man, aren't you going back to Tianqian domain? I'll send you back." The robust man said, You have a way to send me back to Tianqian domain." Lu Ming was stunned. "Why? You don't believe me? I'm going back to Tianqian domain anyway. It's okay to take you back." The robust man drank a mouthful of wine and said, "Yes, I believe you." Lu Ming hurriedly said, "Just now he also saw that the white-haired palace master and the rest were very respectful to this middle-aged man. This middle-aged man definitely had an extraordinary identity. Perhaps he really had a way." Lu Ming could only hold on to any glimmer of hope now. "Senior, wait for me." Lu Ming called out and then flew towards Fei Xue. Fei Xue's beautiful eyes were full of splendor. Lu Ming's strength had exceeded her expectations. A LV9 Martial King was able to contend with Qin Qingshan. If Lu Ming became a peak king, wouldn't he be even stronger? Perhaps he would be able to contend with the top 700 or 800 geniuses on the list of top 1,000 talents. "Miss Fei Xue, I have to go. Thank you for your help during this period. This is for you." Lu Ming took out a storage ring and handed it to Fei Xue. Fei Xue subconsciously took it. "We'll meet again." Lu Ming cupped his fists and then flew towards the robust man. The robust man waved his hand and a stream of genuine essence wrapped around Lu Ming. He said softly, "Let's go." In the next moment, Lu Ming and the robust man disappeared. Fei Xue's mind sank into the storage ring, and then her beautiful eyes flashed. 2,000 metal profound crystals lay quietly in his storage ring, emitting a strong aura of intent domain. "Brother Lu!" Fei Xue looked up, but Lu Ming's figure had disappeared. "Father, who is that man? He destroyed the interdomain teleportation formation and left just like that?" Qin Qingshan asked Vice Palace Master Qin. Vice Palace Master Qin pondered for a moment and looked at the white-haired palace master. The white-haired palace master nodded and said, "You guessed right. He is Yan Kuangtu." "What?" Everyone present widened their eyes in shock. Lu Ming only felt his vision blur. In the next moment, he was shocked to find that he was already outside Hong City. Fast, unbelievably fast. "Kid, which part of Tianqian domain are you from?" The robust man looked at Lu Ming curiously. "I'm from the eastern part of Tianqian domain, Cloud Emperor Mountain Range." Lu Ming said, "The eastern part of Tianqian domain. What a coincidence. I'm also from the eastern part of Tianqian domain. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, I haven't returned to Tianqian domain for decades. This time, I heard that there are some problems in ancient Desolation City, so I went back to take a look." The robust man drank a few mouthfuls of wine and looked to the east. Ancient Desolation City? Lu Ming's eyes flashed, but he did not say much. After pondering for a moment, Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, "Senior, when will we return to Tianqian domain?" "Haha, what's the hurry? Come and drink with me. It doesn't matter if it's for a while." The robust man laughed and landed on a hill outside Hong City. Then he casually sat on the ground and took out some roasted beast meat from his storage ring and started eating. Lu Ming had no choice but to sit on the side. It's easier to travel after eating and drinking. "Come, have a bite too." Chapter 600. Lu Ming reached out and took it. He opened his mouth and took a sip. However, when this mouthful entered his stomach, Lu Ming's expression changed. He felt that this mouthful of wine had turned into a raging flame that burned in his stomach. Rumble. Immediately after, this mouthful of wine transformed into waves of extremely terrifying, scorching energy that was like stormy waves, rampaging within Lu Ming's body. From the outside, one could see that Lu Ming's body was swelling rapidly, as if he could explode from this energy at any time. Too strong. This energy was too strong. The robust man looked at Lu Ming seriously. If Lu Ming couldn't withstand it, he would help. "Devour!" At this moment, Lu Ming let out a low roar. A powerful devouring force emitted from his spine, devouring the majestic energy in his body. Lu Ming sat cross-legged and circulated the true dragon battle art with all his might to refine it. Half an hour later, Lu Ming let out a long breath and opened his eyes. A bolt of lightning flashed in his eyes, filled with a terrifying aura. What pure and majestic energy! Lu Ming exclaimed inwardly. He felt that the energy in that mouthful of wine was even more terrifying than refining a few million supreme-grade spirit crystals. If it weren't for the fact that Lu Ming's state hadn't broken through, he felt that he could rely on the energy in that mouthful of wine to break through to the pinnacle king realm. Of course, this was just an illusion. Breaking through to the pinnacle king realm wasn't something that could be done with a few million supreme-grade spirit crystals. However, Lu Ming's true yuan was still a little thicker and purer, reaching a limit. A mouthful of wine was actually more terrifying than a few million supreme-grade spirit crystals. Lu Ming was shocked. He had seen the man in his prime, gulping down mouthfuls of wine without stopping. Not bad, not bad. In just half an hour, you were able to refine a mouthful of my wine. This is the first time I've seen a little guy like you. The robust man looked at Lu Ming and exclaimed, "Senior, thank you for the wine." Lu Ming said, "Do you want a few more mouthfuls?" The robust man said, "No, I don't want it." Lu Ming waved his hand repeatedly. He hadn't made a breakthrough in his intent realm yet, so drinking it would be a waste. After pondering for a moment, Lu Ming asked, Junior is Lu Ming, "How should I address Senior?" "Me. Yan Kuangtu, have you heard of him?" The robust man said with a smile. "What? You are Yan Kuangtu?" Lu Ming's eyes widened, filled with astonishment. Almost everyone in the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace knew who Yan Kuangtu was, especially the Tian Divine Guards of the Tianxian region. Yan Kuangtu's entire life was a legend. Yan Kuangtu came from an unknown small mountain village in the eastern part of the Tianxian domain. However, with his peerless talent, he grew up step by step from a small mountain village and eventually became a rare genius in the Tianxian domain. Later, Supreme Nine Sons valued him and took him in as a disciple. After being taken in as a disciple by Supreme Nine Sons, he displayed even more terrifying talent. Countless geniuses and monsters were suppressed by him one by one. He stepped on all the geniuses and climbed all the way to become a top expert in the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. It was said that Yan Kuangtu's cultivation was no weaker than his master, Supreme Nine Sons. This legendary figure was now standing in front of Lu Ming, alive and well. Lu Ming's feelings were the most special, because Supreme Nine Sons' remnant soul was now in the Temple of Paragon. Supreme Nine Sons could be considered as Lu Ming's half-master. Without Supreme Nine Sons, Lu Ming wouldn't be where he was today. Yan Kuangtu was Supreme Nine Sons' disciple, so Lu Ming felt closer to him. Should I tell Yan Kuangtu about Supreme Nine Sons? No, I can't tell him. This matter is too big. I can't take the risk. A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind, but he immediately rejected it. First of all, this matter was too unbelievable. Also, Yan Kuangtu was now in an important position by Martial Emperor Di. What if he was on Martial Emperor Di Yi's side? If he told him, wouldn't he be courting death? Lu Ming decided not to say anything. At the very least, he would not say anything before he was powerful enough. So it's Senior Yan. Senior's name is like thunder to my ears. Lu Ming gathered his thoughts and cupped his fists. Haha, you're welcome. All right, now, I'll take you back to the Tianxian domain. Yan Kuangtu said with a laugh. Go back? How do we go back? Lu Ming was confused. Of course, we'll fly back. Yan Kuangtu smiled slightly. In the next moment, a terrifying aura spread out from his body. This aura was more majestic than the ocean and as deep as the universe. As soon as this aura appeared, Yan Kuangtu immediately withdrew it. However, Lu Ming was still shocked. He felt that in front of this aura, any Peak King was like an ant or a speck of dust. At this moment, Dandan shrank his head in fear and grabbed Lu Ming's shoulder tightly with both hands. Whoosh! Yen Kwangta stretched out his hand and drew a line in the air. The space was torn apart like a piece of paper, revealing a dark and deep space crack. Let's go! Yen Kwangta grabbed Lu Ming's arm and stepped into the space crack. In an instant, Lu Ming felt dizzy. His surroundings were pitch black and he couldn't see anything. After a while, the world suddenly lit up. Lu Ming found that they were in the sky above a vast mountain range. Then, Yen Kwangta stretched out his hand again, and the space cracked again. Yen Kwangtu took Lu Ming and stepped into the space crack again. Tearing through space. This was tearing through space. If one's strength hadn't reached an incredible level, it would be impossible to do so. Lu Ming was shocked. Not long after, they appeared above a lake. Then, Yen Kwangtu continued tearing through space. This repeated over and over again toward Tianxian Domain. Tianxian Domain, Tianxian City. These days it was extremely lively. Lanterns and colored banners were hung everywhere. This was because the #1 genius of Tianxian Domain, Shang Xingqian of Eastern Wilderness list of top 1,000 talents, was going to marry the daughter of Tianxian Branch Palace Master. Countless people from all over Tianxian Domain came to congratulate them. These days, the city gates of Tianxian City were wide open and free to the public. In the first level of Tianxian City, there was a huge square. Thousands of tables had been set up in the square. Today was the wedding day of Shang Xingqian and Mulins. Many people walked toward the square. Those who could enter this place were all famous people in Tianxian Domain. Ordinary people didn't have this qualification. On the side of the square, Mu Shiyuan and Mu Zhang, the palace master of Eastern Branch Palace, stood side by side in a pavilion. They looked at the lively crowd below. Sigh, it seems that nothing can be changed. Lan wanted to fight back, but in the end, she still came to this step. Mu Jing sighed. Lu Ming has disappeared for half a year. I don't know why. Many people said that Lu Ming was afraid and knew that he was no match for Shang Xingqian, so he went into hiding. I don't believe this. With Lu Ming's character, even if he is no match for Shang Xingqian, he will still fight. Mu Shiyuan said, Time is too short. It is indeed difficult for Lu Ming to defeat Shang Xingqian. It is good that he didn't appear. It is also good for Lu Ming. Chapter 601. At this time, Mu Zhang and Mu Shiyuan looked outside. Several figures were slowly approaching from the sky. Big brother, second brother, they're here. Shiyuan, let's go. Mu Zhang pulled Mu Shiyuan and stepped into the air to greet the newcomers. Greetings, big brother, second brother. Mu Zhang called out. Of the two people at the front, one was an old man with a head full of white hair. The other was a burly man who looked to be in his 50s. The burly man was Mu Zhang's big brother, Mulin's father, and the current palace lord of Dark Branch Palace, Mu Tian. The white-haired old man was Mu Zhang's second brother, Mu Yi. The age of a martial artist couldn't be determined by their appearance. Mu Tian was the oldest, but he looked to be in his 50s. Because his cultivation was the strongest and he had broken through to the spiritual sea realm, he looked the youngest. Mu Yi and Mu Zhang, on the other hand, looked like old men. Greetings, big uncle, second uncle. Mu Shiyuan stepped forward and bowed. Mu Shiyuan's father was ranked 5th, but he died in a battle in his early years. All right, let's go up and take a seat. Mu Tian nodded and went to the high platform above the square. At the top of the square, there was a row of high platforms for people of status to sit on. After they sat down, they started chatting. Sixth brother, I heard that Lu Ming is from the Eastern Branch Palace. He was so arrogant that he dared to challenge the sacred star, but now he's gone into hiding. Mu Yi looked at Mu Zheng and smiled faintly. Second brother, Lu Ming, was probably delayed by something. He might not have gone into hiding. The rumors outside can't be trusted. Mu Zheng said, Is that so? I heard that Lu Ming challenged the sacred star because of Lan Er. Young people don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. They don't have a clear understanding of their own status. Is Lan Er someone he's worthy of? Even if he has some talent, does our Mu clan lack talented youths? The sacred star is a peerless genius. Mu Yi sneered. Mu Yi and Mu Zheng had always been at odds with one another. Mu Yi would not let go of any opportunity to strike at Mu Zheng, even though they were brothers by blood. Second uncle, I don't think so. Lu Ming is no ordinary genius. Give him a few years, and he'll definitely be on the list of top 1,000 talents. Mu Shiyuan interjected. Enter the list of top 1,000 talents? How ignorant! Was it so easy to enter the list of top 1,000 talents? Just a kid from the eastern mountainous region? Young people are really whimsical. All right, the elders are talking. Don't interrupt. Mu Yi scolded, his voice full of disdain. Mu Shiyuan's expression was somewhat ugly, but he did not continue speaking. Big brother, you have good taste. Shang Xingchen is from the Shang family, which is a good match for our Mu family. Moreover, he is a peerless genius. He is a perfect match for Lan Er. Mu Yi smiled. Mu Tian only nodded slightly and didn't say anything. Mu Yi continued. More importantly, Shang Xingchen's mother is too powerful. Once Lan Er and Shang Xingchen get married, if we can establish a relationship with them, our Mu family will be able to develop steadily and become invulnerable. Mu Zheng's expression changed slightly when he heard this. He looked a little solemn. Indeed, Shang Xingchen's mother came from the main palace of Emperor Heaven Divine Palace and was a direct descendant of a powerful family. Although the Mu family was extremely powerful in Tianqin domain, it was nothing compared to the main palace of Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. The main palace of Emperor Heaven Divine Palace was the core of Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Not only was Shang Xingchen's talent terrifying, but so was his background. Compared to him, Lu Ming was a far cry. In a huge mansion in the 4th district of Tianqin City. This was the mansion of the Shang family. At this moment, a group of people were gathered at the entrance of the mansion and chatting. I wanted to see Lu Ming get beaten up by the young master of Star Palace, but I didn't expect that guy to hide and not dare to show his face. Yeah, to think that I waited for half a year with anticipation. What a coward. He only knows how to boast. I already expected this result. If he doesn't hide and really challenges the young master of Star Palace, he will definitely die. In the eyes of such a person, face is nothing but life. These were the elites of the Shang family. Some of them had even been beaten up by Lu Ming, so they naturally hoped that Shang Xingchen could beat Lu Ming up. But they didn't expect Lu Ming to hide, which disappointed them greatly. The young master of Star Palace has come out. Someone shouted. A group of people walked out of the mansion. Shang Xingchen wore a festive red robe and walked in the center. Beside him was a middle-aged couple. They were Shang Xingchen's parents, the current rulers of the Shang family. There was another person who looked to be in his 40s. He was handsome and had a dignified aura. He was the elder brother of Shang Xingchen's mother and Shang Xingchen's uncle. He came from the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Xingchen, go to the Mu family and welcome the bride. Your father, uncle, and I will wait for you at the banquet. Shang Xingchen's mother said. Yes, mother. Shang Xingchen nodded. Then, Shang Xingchen's mother and the others stepped into the air and went to the square of the 1st district. Shang Xingchen, on the other hand, went to the Mu family. In a pavilion of the Mu family, Mulins was wearing a red robe, which made her look even more charming. But her brows were tightly knitted, and there was no trace of a smile on her face. Her eyes were lifeless and seemed a little empty. Lu Ming, what happened to you? Mulins whispered. Mulins knew that Lu Ming had gone to the forging sect. Later, the news of the forging sect's destruction spread. Since then, Lu Ming had disappeared without a trace. Mulins was very worried that Lu Ming had met with an accident. As for the rumors that Lu Ming was afraid of Sheng Xingqian and had gone into hiding, she did not believe it at all. She had watched Lu Ming grow up. She knew Lu Ming very well. He would not go into hiding because he was no match for Sheng Xingqian. Lan, are you okay? An old voice sounded behind Mulins. Mulins turned around and saw an old man. She forced a smile on her face and said, "Grandfather!" This old man was naturally Yan Lan. As her grandfather, he naturally had to come to Mulins's wedding. Sigh. Looking at Mulins's appearance, Yan Lan let out a deep sigh. He had been hoping that Lu Ming could create a miracle. Unfortunately, Lu Ming had disappeared without a trace. Mulins had resisted for more than 10 years, but in the end, she still had to marry someone she did not like under her father's will. Perhaps this was fate. Miss Mulins, young Master Xingqian is here to welcome you. A young lady walked in and said. Mulins's face showed a sad smile. Tell young Master Xingqian that I'll go right away. Mulins said, Lu Ming, where are you? Chapter 602. Yan Kuangtu took Lu Ming and tore through space more than 20 times. Whoosh! When the 27th light shone into Lu Ming's eyes, Yan Kuangtu stopped and did not continue to travel through space. We're here. Yan Kuangtu's slightly complicated voice sounded as he looked to the east. 100 miles away, a pitch-black city stood tall as if it had experienced the passage of time. That was Tianqian City. Lu Ming's eyes revealed a trace of excitement. They had finally arrived at Tianqian City. At the same time, he was shocked. Traveling through space was too fast. Hong Domain and Tianqian Domain were separated by 16 large domains. Many of the large domains were larger than Tianqian Domain. But now they had arrived at their destination. From start to finish, it would take about an hour. Lu Ming, I won't go to Tianqian City with you. I have to go to Ancient Desolation City to check out the situation. Yan Kuangtu said, Senior Yan, thank you for your help this time. Lu Ming cupped his fists and sincerely expressed his gratitude. Haha, you don't have to thank me. I destroyed the interdomain transmission array in Hong Domain, so you can't come back. Of course, I have to bring you along. Yan Kuangtu laughed. Senior, Lu Ming will take his leave. Lu Ming was a little anxious to return to Tianqian City. Go. Yan Kuangtu took a sip of wine and waved his hand. Lu Ming turned around and headed towards Tianqian City. Tianqian City is not simple. This kid will most likely be at a disadvantage if he goes there. Yan Kuangtu whispered. Then he waved his hand and a ray of light flew into Lu Ming's body and disappeared. Lu Ming did not feel anything. With a slight smile, Yan Kuangtu's figure flickered and disappeared without a trace. Dandan, inscribe the inscription for True Origin Explosion for me. Lu Ming said to Dandan. This time he had to win against the sacred star. He must not lose. Lu Ming had to be fully prepared. All right. Dandan began to inscribe inscriptions for Lu Ming. This time he actually succeeded on the first try. Lu Ming felt his true essence surging, his entire body brimming with power. The distance of 100 li was covered in the blink of an eye. Arriving at the city gate, Lu Ming landed and entered the city. As soon as he entered the city gate, he felt that something was wrong. Everywhere was decorated with lanterns and color banners, and there was a joyous atmosphere. After asking around, Lu Ming's face paled. Today was the wedding day of Mulins and Sheng Xingqian. I hope I can make it in time. Lu Ming rushed towards the square. The square was filled with guests and a sea of people. At the top of the square, Mu Tian and the others sat on one side, while Sheng Xingqian's parents and elders sat on the other side. The bride and groom have arrived. A voice rang out. Everyone's gaze turned to the left side of the square. There, two figures walked over. They were none other than Sheng Xing and Mulins. Sheng Xing had a faint smile on his face, but Mulins didn't smile at all. Her face was as calm as still water. The two of them walked to the center of the square. The marriage of martial artists was different from that of ordinary people. Ordinary people needed to worship the heavens and the earth, but martial artists didn't. Martial cultivation was something that defied the heavens. Otherwise, when one broke through to the martial king realm, there wouldn't be a lightning tribulation from the heavens. Therefore, martial artists didn't need to worship the heavens and the earth when they got married. They only needed to kneel and worship their elders and ancestors. The people of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace had one more thing, which was to pray to martial Emperor Di. Once these steps were completed, the marriage would be considered official. All right, the newlyweds will now kneel and worship the parents and elders of both parties. A voice rang out. Wait. Just as Sheng Xing and Mulins were about to kneel and worship the elders of both parties, a voice rang out and spread throughout the square. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Who was so daring to disturb the wedding ceremony of Sheng Xing and Mulins? Did they want to die? However, some people were different. When they heard the voice, their bodies trembled. First was Mulins. When she heard the voice, her delicate body trembled. She turned around abruptly with a pleasantly surprised expression on her face. Similarly, Mu Shiyuan and Mu Zhang reacted the same way. Their faces changed at first. Then they were pleasantly surprised. As for the people of the Sheng family, their faces turned gloomy. At this moment, everyone's gaze turned towards the source of the voice. A young man walked towards the square, step by step. Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming. Suddenly, someone shouted, It's really him. Didn't he hide? Why did he appear now? Could it be that he couldn't bear to leave Miss Mulins at the crucial moment and decided to run out? It's possible. Half a year ago, when Lu Ming challenged Xing Xing, everyone thought that Lu Ming challenged Xing Xing because of Mulins. They all thought that Lu Ming was interested in Mulins. Now that he appeared, many people naturally thought in this direction. Lu Ming, he finally appeared. Mu Shiyuan muttered, his eyes filled with anticipation. Lu Ming. Mulins looked at Lu Ming. At this moment, Mulins seemed to be filled with vitality. Her eyes were full of splendor. Lu Ming. Xing Xing whispered, his eyes as calm as an ancient well. Lu Ming couldn't be affected. Lu Ming. Sheng Yao and the rest who had grudges with Lu Ming looked at Lu Ming. There was a strong murderous intent in their eyes. This kid is Lu Ming? What is he trying to do? Disrupt the wedding? He's courting death. Mu Yi shouted coldly. Under countless gazes, Lu Ming walked towards Mulins and Sheng Xing step by step. Then he stood a dozen meters in front of Mulins and Sheng Xing. Senior Mulins, long time no see. Lu Ming smiled faintly. You brat, I knew you'd come. Mulins also smiled faintly. Her smile was brighter than a flower, causing many young people to fall into a daze. Senior Mulins, let's catch up later. Right now, there are more important things to do. Lu Ming smiled, then looked at Sheng Xing and said, Sheng Xing, half a year has passed. Let's fight. How dare you? Who is this little bastard? How dare he disrupt Xing Xing's wedding? He's courting death. Men, kill him. On the high platform, Sheng Xing's mother's eyes flashed coldly as she shouted. Yes, two middle-aged, burly men rushed out and rushed towards Lu Ming. Boom! Two terrifying auras emanated from the two of them. Ninth layer Martial King Realm. The two men were both ninth layer Martial King Realm experts. Top figures among the Greater Success King Realm experts. Little bastard, kneel. The two burly men ran on the ground like two giant beasts, causing the ground to rumble. They instantly rushed to Lu Ming's sides, one on the left and one on the right, and grabbed Lu Ming's shoulders. Xing Xing remained motionless. Mulins cried out in alarm, "Lu Ming, watch out!" However, Lu Ming remained motionless, as if he was scared silly. Bang! Bang! The two burly men accurately grabbed Lu Ming's shoulders and one of Lu Ming's arms with the other hand. "Haha! You want to challenge Xing Xing with such strength? What a fool!" Mu Yi immediately sneered. "This kid is overestimating himself." Sheng Yao and the others also sneered. However, in the next moment they could no longer laugh. "Kneel!" The two burly men shouted as their true origin erupted. They grabbed Lu Ming's shoulders and pushed him down. Chapter 603. The two burly men's faces changed. Their eyes were filled with shock. "Kneel!" The two burly men roared again. Their bodies were covered in a bloody light. They had even activated their bloodline. Powerful true essence merged with the will of heaven and earth and pressed down on Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming did not move an inch. The two burly men's faces turned red. Most of the people's faces changed. What are those two doing? Playing a game? Mu Zheng smiled and looked at Mu Yi. Mu Yi's face darkened. "This is interesting." Mu Tian, who had been silent, finally spoke. "That little bastard." The mother of the sacred Star City gritted her teeth. Her face was even colder. Sheng Yao and the others were dumbfounded. "Sacred Star, is this the battle you promised me?" Lu Ming looked at the sacred star with disdain. "You want to fight me? Let's see if you're qualified to do so." The sacred star said calmly, "Is that so?" Lu Ming smiled faintly. His true essence burst out and he swung his arms. Bang! The two burly men were thrown into the air and slammed into each other. A series of cracking sounds were heard. The two burly men screamed. Many of their bones were broken. Lu Ming swung his arms, and the two burly men were thrown a few 100 meters away like two piles of mud. They lay on the ground and screamed. Many people's faces changed. The two burly men were at the early stage of the 9th level Martial King realm. In Tianqian domain, they were definitely the most powerful people and could dominate a region. However, in front of Lu Ming, they seemed so weak and could not resist at all. In just half a year, Lu Ming had grown to this level? That was too terrifying. A hint of surprise flashed across the Saint Star's eyes. Haha, this kid is really good. He's from the east. Mu Zheng laughed. He had been mocked by Mu Yi before. Now that he finally found a chance to fight back, he felt quite elated. Humph, you've only defeated two early-stage, 9th-layer Martial King realm cultivators. Besides, they were caught off guard and didn't even use any martial skills. What's there to be proud of? You're nothing compared to the sacred star. Mu Yi's face darkened and he snorted coldly. Early-stage 9th level Martial King realm experts? Hee hee. Second brother, you're so arrogant. 9th level Martial King realm experts are nothing. Mu Zheng laughed. This time, Mu Yi's face darkened, and he said nothing. What about now? Lu Ming gazed at the sacred star. He only said 3 words, but they made everything clear. Didn't the sacred star want to see if he was qualified? What about now? Too weak. The sacred star's reply was only 2 words, but it showed great confidence. Are you avoiding the fight? Lu Ming stared intently at the sacred star. Ridiculous, little bastard. You're not qualified to fight the young master of the sacred star. You'll have to go through me first. A cold snort was heard as a figure stepped out of the void and appeared in the square. The hearts of the crowd shuddered. There was no need to explain what it meant to walk on air in Tianqian City. It's Sheng Yao. He's going to fight. He's an elder of the Tianqian branch. That's normal. Lu Ming wants to challenge the sacred star today. He must prove himself with his strength. All around, countless people were whispering to each other. Many of them were experts from other parts of the Tianqian domain. They had never seen Lu Ming before, so they curiously sized up this outstanding young man. It had been a few years since anyone from the younger generation of the Tianqian domain had challenged the sacred star. Lu Ming's eyes fell on Shen Yao. His eyes flashed with a trace of fierceness, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Well, it's time to settle the score with you. Settle the score with me? Little bastard, I haven't seen you for half a year. I don't know where your confidence comes from. Shen Yao sneered and stepped out. Boom! The formidable aura of a peak martial emperor burst out like a vast ocean. Shen Yao's body also floated in the air. He looked down at Lu Ming and said, 10 moves. I'll suppress you in 10 moves. If I can't suppress you in 10 moves, this old man will admit defeat. Lu Ming shook his head and raised 3 fingers. Shen Yao was stunned, then he sneered. What? You don't have confidence in yourself? You can only withstand 3 moves from me? No. Lu Ming shook his head again and said, 3 moves means I can suppress you in 3 moves. Otherwise, I'll admit defeat and leave. His words caused an uproar in the square. Lu Ming said he could suppress Shen Yao in 3 moves. How is that possible? Crazy, he must be crazy. Haha, I thought he was a top figure, but it turns out he's just a fool who overestimates himself. Does he know what a peak king represents? Mu Yi sneered. Mu Xiuyuan and Mu Zhang were confused too. They found it hard to believe that Lu Ming could suppress Shen Yao in 3 moves. On the platform, Mu Tian and Sheng Xingqin's uncle, Sheng Xingqin's father, the current patriarch of the Sheng clan, Sheng Tsang, shook their heads. With their cultivation, they could easily tell that Lu Ming's cultivation was at the peak 9th layer martial emperor realm. Was it possible for a peak 9th layer martial emperor realm cultivator to suppress a peak king in 3 moves? You suppress me in 3 moves? Ha ha ha! Shen Yao burst out laughing as if he had just heard the funniest thing in the world. However, the next moment he could no longer laugh. Lu Ming's body floated in the air as if he had become weightless. He flew to the same position as Shen Yao and stood facing him. The crowd fell silent instantly. Floating in the air in Tianqian City. Has Lu Ming achieved the Peak King realm? Someone exclaimed in astonishment. No, he's a peak 9th layer martial emperor realm cultivator. Lu Ming has comprehended the wind intent. That's why he can fly in the air. However, his battle strength is close to that of a peak king realm cultivator. Unbelievable, he can really fight a peak king realm cultivator? How long has it been? He's still so young. The crowd was shocked. Mu Yi was dumbfounded, while Mu Zhang and Mu Xiuyuan burst out laughing after a brief pause. On the square, Sheng Xingqin raised his eyebrows with a hint of interest for the first time. However, he was still confident that he was only interested. On the other hand, Shen Yao's face darkened. Lu Ming was able to float in the air in Tianqian City. In a way, Lu Ming was already on the same level as him. Come on, use your strongest move. Otherwise, you won't have a chance, Lu Ming said. His voice was calm but full of confidence. Arrogant, Shen Yao yelled as he unleashed his aura. He suddenly attacked. A large flaming hand was completely formed by flaming sword aura. It was several meters in length and width. Its power was shocking as it blasted toward Lu Ming. At the same time, he opened his mouth and a flaming ring flew out. It expanded rapidly until it was a few meters wide. It was covered in crimson flames and also shot toward Lu Ming. The 2 attacks were as powerful as lightning, and even the air was boiling from the scorching heat. Chapter 604. As soon as Shen Yao made his move, He unleashed a thunderous attack in an attempt to suppress Lu Ming in one blow. Child's play, Lu Ming bellowed. A spear radiance rushed out from his body and soared into the sky. Bang! Xing Yao's giant flaming palm was crushed by the spear radiance. Whoosh! Lu Ming soared into the sky and swept his spear at the giant ring. Clang! The huge ring kept shaking, and the scarlet flames were almost shaken off. A cracking sound came from the ring, and a hole appeared on it, and it flew far away. Pucci! Xing Yao's face turned pale. He spat out a mouthful of blood and retreated rapidly. How could this be? Xing Yao screamed in his heart. It was unbelievable. His two moves, which were close to his full strength, were easily countered by Lu Ming. Moreover, Lu Ming even managed to injure him through the ring. This kind of combat strength was simply terrifying. Suppress! Lu Ming roared. He took a step forward and charged at Xing Yao at lightning speed. He swept his spear at him from above. Xing Yao roared in anger and exerted all his strength. He almost turned into a flaming man as he unleashed his strongest attack. However, all his efforts were in vain. Under Lu Ming's spear radiance, all his attacks turned into nothing. The giant spear radiance smashed onto Xing Yao's body. Xing Yao screamed in pain, and his body flew downwards. Stop! Lu Ming waved his hand, and a ribbon of true ether wrapped around Xing Yao, stopping him from falling. Then Lu Ming's body fell. His foot was about to stomp on Xing Yao's old face. This stomp contained the power of the 9 dragons' sky-ascending steps. No! Xing Yao roared. However, in the next moment, Lu Ming's foot accurately landed on Xing Yao's face. Xing Yao's body fell rapidly like a meteorite and heavily smashed onto the true ether shield below. A loud boom, accompanied by screams of agony and the sound of bones breaking, resounded throughout the arena. Then everyone saw Xing Yao lying on top of the Zhanyuan shield like an old, dead dog. His whole body was twitching and blood was flowing out of his mouth. Especially his face. There was a clear shoe print that almost flattened his old face. Hiss, gasps could be heard from the audience. Countless people looked at Lu Ming in shock. 3 moves, it really was 3 moves. Including the last kick, it was exactly 3 moves. 3 moves! Lu Ming really suppressed Xing Yao in 3 moves, and even beat Xing Yao half to death. This, on the stage, Mu Zheng and Mu Shiyuan were dumbfounded. Although they previously hoped that Lu Ming could win, in their hearts, they did not have much confidence. After all, half a year ago, Lu Ming was only a 4th-layer martial emperor. Being able to reach the great perfection king realm in half a year was already a miracle, let alone defeating a peak king. Never in their wildest dreams did they expect that not only would Lu Ming win, but he would also win in such a clean and exciting manner. This kid! Mu Zheng could not stop muttering, feeling extremely excited. How long ago was it? 1.5 years ago, when Lu Ming had just entered the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. He was not even a half-step king. In just 1.5 years, Lu Ming was already standing at the peak of the king realm. It was simply a miracle. In the history of Tianxian domain, there had never been such a miracle. Beside Mu Zheng, Mu Yi's mouth was wide open. He was dumbfounded and also filled with disbelief. Below the arena, Mulins looked at the young figure in the sky, feeling extremely excited. In her heart, scenes of the past kept flashing. The tender young man in Firestorm City, the young man who needed her protection. As time passed, he had already walked on his own path to becoming an expert. Not only had he far surpassed her, but he had also become a peak expert in Tianxian domain. He had become a mountain that could block the wind and rain, protecting her. Half a year ago, Lu Ming challenged the sacred star. Mulins knew that Lu Ming was doing it for her. Then, Lu Ming disappeared for half a year. Half a year later, when she was about to get married, Lu Ming appeared again. He stood in front of her in a domineering manner, blocking everything for her. At this moment, her eyes were moist. She knew that she had not misjudged him. She had made the right choice. Lu Ming slowly walked down and appeared in front of the sacred star. What about now? It was still the same question. Now, did he have the qualifications to stand in front of the sacred star? Everyone's gaze followed Lu Ming's movements. In the sacred family, those who had conflicts with Lu Ming and even fought with him had complicated gazes. There was shock, horror, disbelief, and reverence. More than half a year ago, Lu Ming was still competing with them. But now more than half a year had passed. Lu Ming had left them far behind. He was now able to stand in front of the sacred star. They were too far away from Lu Ming. They were no longer on the same level. Thinking of this, the elites of the sacred family felt dejected. There were also many people who had concluded that Lu Ming was hiding out of fear. Now, their faces were flushed with shame. Lu Ming wasn't hiding out of fear. He was probably cultivating somewhere. On the high platform, Mu Tian, Sheng Tsang, and the Sacred Star's uncles' eyes moved slightly. They looked at Lu Ming seriously. Obviously, Lu Ming's combat strength had finally gained their recognition and made them take him seriously. The Saint Star had been very calm from the beginning to the end, but now there seemed to be stars shining in his eyes, brilliant and dazzling. Not bad. The Sacred Star spoke. Let's fight in the sky, Lu Ming said. Then he soared into the sky and appeared in the sky. The Sacred Star's body emitted starlight. He also soared into the sky and stood opposite Lu Ming. At this moment, many people's hearts pounded. They widened their eyes and stared at the two young figures in the sky. Lu Ming and the Sacred Star were finally going to fight? Half a year ago, Lu Ming's challenge to the Sacred Star spread throughout Tianjin City. Some people heard it and dismissed it with a laugh. They thought it was just a joke. Even if it wasn't a joke, Lu Ming couldn't really challenge the Sacred Star. The difference was too great. He wasn't qualified at all. Even if they really fought, it would be a one-sided battle. The Sacred Star would probably be able to suppress Lu Ming with a single palm. But now, no one thought that the Sacred Star could suppress Lu Ming with a single palm. Lu Ming had just used his strength to prove that he was qualified to fight against the Sacred Star. Some people even began to worry about the Sacred Star. Half a year ago, the Sacred Star was a peak 9th level martial king. At that time, the Sacred Star's combat strength was said to not be weaker than a peak king. But Lu Ming wasn't weaker than a peak king. He had suppressed a peak king in 3 moves. Had the Sacred Star broken through to peak king? If he hadn't, would he be a match for Lu Ming? Everyone stared at the Sacred Star. Your combat strength is not bad. Half a year ago, you might have been able to fight me, but now the result won't change. Boom! As the Sacred Star's voice fell, a huge pillar of starlight shot out from the Sacred Star's body. It shot into the sky and into the endless void. A powerful aura permeated the air. Chapter 605. The Saint Star's body emitted a terrifying aura and a vast pressure spread out. This was the aura of a peak king. Peak king. Sacred Star has become a peak king. God. Sacred Star is already very powerful. Now that he has become a peak king, how powerful will he be? He is indeed a peerless genius on the list of top 1,000 talents. Now, other than the Palace Master and a few sea of Soul Realm experts, no one in Tianjin domain is his match. Lu Ming is doomed. He is no match for Sacred Star. The crowd was in an uproar. Many people had thought that Lu Ming could fight against Sacred Star City, but now they had changed their minds. Lu Ming was merely at the peak of LV9 Martial King Realm. Although he could defeat Holy Glory, Holy Star, and Holy Glory were 2 completely different concepts. Sacred Star, who had become a peak king, could easily kill Sacred Star with 1 move. Haha, let's see how that kid can fight now. Mu Yi sneered. Xingqian, Hurry up and cripple that little bastard. Don't delay the wedding day. Sacred Star's mother shouted. Has he really become a peak king? Lu Ming whispered. In Hong Domain, Qin Qingshan's ranking was one rank lower than Sacred Star's. Since Qin Qingshan had become a peak king, Lu Ming guessed that Sacred Star had most likely become a peak king as well. Now it was indeed so. Lu Ming, if you admit defeat and cripple your cultivation now, I can spare your life. Sacred Star's body was full of starlight. He looked like a god who had descended from the heavens to inspect the world. He was extremely confident. Haha, Sacred Star, do you think you can defeat me? Lu Ming stood in the void. His long hair fluttered in the wind. His eyes were like two unsheathed swords, revealing a sharp battle intent. I'll let you know the difference between us. Sacred Star's eyes shone with starlight. At this moment, the starlight on his body boiled like a burning flame. Slash! With a soft shout, a star battle sword condensed. It was 1,000 feet long and slashed violently toward Lu Ming. Heaven's Law Palm. Lu Ming struck out with his palm. The Heaven's Path Palm was only a martial technique that was infinitely close to the heaven level. However, with Lu Ming's current cultivation, it displayed a terrifying power that seemed to have surpassed its original level. A huge palm print with 9 fingers appeared. The stripes on it were clear, like the inscriptions of the heavenly way. It emitted a terrifying aura and blasted toward the giant star sword. A heaven-shaking, earth-shattering boom rang out. Resplendent light shone in the sky. Some of the weaker cultivators felt a piercing pain in their eyes. Tears rolled down their cheeks, and they couldn't help but close their eyes. In the next moment, the light dissipated, and the palm and the massive sword vanished simultaneously. Sheng Xingchen, there's no need to test me. Show me your true strength. Otherwise, you'll end up like Shen Yao. At some point in time, a long spear had appeared in Lu Ming's hand. His fighting spirit soared to the heavens. I'll grant you your wish. Star Sword Formula. The starlight on the sacred star grew even more resplendent. It was clearly daytime, but starlight fell from the depths of the sky, landing on the sacred star. The star intent was indeed mysterious. At the same time, a dazzling battle sword appeared in the sacred star's hand. With a wave of the battle sword, stars suddenly appeared in the sky. Then, the stars fell one by one towards Lu Ming, turning into swords of stars. They shot towards Lu Ming like streamers. Hundreds of streamers covered the sky, completely locking down Lu Ming's path of retreat. There was no way for him to escape. 10,000 dragons kill. Lu Ming stood still and stabbed out with his spear. Hundreds of tricolor true dragons flew out, roaring as they rushed towards the streamers of stars. Boom! 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 Like fireworks exploding, the rumbling continued. The sky was filled with resplendent light, which was incomparably gorgeous. However, no one was in the mood to watch. Their eyes were completely locked on Lu Ming and the sacred star. It's my turn, Lu Ming said softly. He slowly walked out, his long spear shining brightly. With a stab, a huge tricolor true dragon roared and pounced towards the sacred star. Star sword, 10,000 swords become one. The sacred star waved his hand. 10,000 stars seemed to enter the sacred star's battle sword as he slashed out. Boom! Another explosion sounded in the sky. Many people felt their eardrums vibrating and their heads buzzing. In shock, they hurriedly circulated their true yuan to protect their eardrums. Dazzling lights appeared in the sky and then disappeared. Kill! Kill! The two figures got closer and closer to each other. Finally, they collided heavily against each other. The space shook violently as if it couldn't bear the weight. Boom! 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 The two figures turned into two streaks of light as they exchanged blows in the air. Streaks of unbridled force tore through the void and fell down continuously. If it weren't for the true Yuan barrier set up by the elders, the tables and chairs below would have all been destroyed. Even so, the true Yuan barrier continued to tremble. The expressions of the dozen or so peak kings changed, and they were incomparably shocked. Just the overflowing energy was enough to make them feel a huge pressure. If they really participated in the battle, wouldn't they be easily killed? Was this still the power of a king? At the scene, countless eyes stared at the sky without blinking. Their eyes were filled with incomparable horror. Lu Ming was actually able to contend with the sacred star and fight it to this extent. Today, regardless of whether Lu Ming won or lost, he was destined to be famous in the Tianxin domain. He would leave a thick mark in the history of the Tianxin domain. Damn it! I will definitely kill this little bastard. The sacred star's mother growled. Her eyes revealed a sinister look. Boom! Boom! The battle in the sky continued. It was extremely intense. In the blink of an eye, more than 50 moves had been exchanged. Buzz! At this time, a layer of blood light spread out from the sacred star's body. Then, starlight spread out and a scroll appeared above Xin Xingqian's head. The scroll opened and 7 stars shone on it. They were the 7 heavenly stars. On the scroll, 7 silver chakras were emitting rays of light. This was the sacred star's second bloodline, the 7th grade king bloodline. The sacred star's bloodline erupted, and his aura became stronger. You have a bloodline, but I don't? Explode! Boom! Xin Xingqian's second bloodline erupted. It was also a 7th grade king. Now, both of Lu Ming's bloodlines had been promoted to the 7th grade king. However, Lu Ming did not erupt his 9 dragons bloodline. Lu Ming decided that in the future he would try not to use the 9 dragons bloodline in crowded places, especially in the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. Although Supreme 9 Sons had helped him seal his aura, who knew if anyone would guess something from his appearance? It was better to be careful. The eruption of their bloodlines made the battle more intense, and the battle became more intense. In the blink of an eye, more than 50 moves had been exchanged. Look, Lu Ming is at a disadvantage. That's right, he is no match. He is being suppressed. The sacred star's attacks are increasing, and Lu Ming's attacks are decreasing. That's right, Lu Ming is going to lose. Chapter 606. Kill. The Saint Star's aura was like a rainbow as starlight fell from the sky. Sword Qi swept toward Lu Ming like a tide. In the Saint Star, no matter if it was the physical body, the cultivation technique, or the martial skills, they were all extremely powerful, far surpassing ordinary geniuses. Their battle prowess was extremely terrifying, and ordinary geniuses of the same level as him wouldn't be able to withstand a single blow from him. Slowly, he began to suppress Lu Ming and gain the upper hand. At this moment, a murderous storm was brewing in the Saint Star's eyes. He wanted to kill Lu Ming. He was a peerless genius on the list of top 1,000 geniuses of the Eastern Wilderness and had entered the peak-level king realm. He had wanted to show his ambition and increase his ranking, but now he was blocked by a peak-level martial artist and couldn't even defeat him. If this news spread, it would be a fatal blow to his reputation. His thoughts were exactly the same as Qin Qingshan's. This was the arrogance of a peerless genius. Star-slashing sword. With a loud roar, the Saint Star merged with his sword and slashed out with his strongest sword. This sword seemed to be able to cut down the stars in the sky. Hence its name, Star-slashing sword. Extreme Dao strike. Lu Ming also used his strongest attack. Boom! 2 rays of light collided in the sky, like a sun exploding. It was terrifying. Endless storms and powerful qi fell down. The true yuan of the peak-level kings started to vibrate violently. The peak-level kings' expressions changed drastically as they frantically retreated. On the high platform, Mu Tian's eyes flickered. With a wave of his hand, A ray of true yuan spread out and covered the peak-level king's true yuan, blocking the powerful qi above. After a boom, the two figures quickly retreated. Lu Ming retreated 1,000 meters, while the Saint Star retreated 500 meters. It was obvious who had the upper hand. The two looked at each other from afar. Lu Ming, your combat strength is not bad, but it's all over today. Boom! As the Saint Star's voice fell, an even stronger aura exploded from his body. It was much stronger than before. Heavens, the sacred star was still hiding its strength. This is the unique usage of a unique bloodline. Everyone's bloodline contains endless secrets. Ordinary people can only unleash their bloodline to increase their strength, but some geniuses are able to comprehend certain secrets from their bloodline, such as martial skills or secret techniques. The Saint Star is such a person. Lu Ming is finished. He's even less likely to be a match. Exclamations could be heard all around. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Previously, Qin Qingshan had done the same. He had almost turned himself into an ice statue, and his battle prowess had greatly increased. That was also a secret skill that he had comprehended from his bloodline. Until now, Lu Ming had not comprehended anything from his bloodline. The bloodline of the 9 dragons could devour all things. In fact, it could be said to be a secret art. Once awakened, he would possess it. As for the second bloodline, it was always covered by a layer of mist. Right now, he could only see the word suppress. It was as if there was a layer of something blocking it. Lu Ming couldn't observe it at all, let alone comprehend it. Lu Ming! Below, Mulins looked worried, her hands clutching her clothes tightly. Lu Ming, this battle is over. The sacred star walked in the air, his aura strong and powerful. Is it really over? Yes, it should be over. It seems that I still have to use that power. Lu Ming whispered and sighed slightly. Boom! The next moment, Lu Ming's aura burst out violently and rose sharply. At this moment, Lu Ming's aura was crazy. Everyone was dumbfounded. Lu Ming's aura has also risen. Heavens! And it's rising so quickly, more than the sacred star. It's terrifying. Sensing the violent vital essence in his body, Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. This was the power of the Dandan inscription array. Just now, Lu Ming had been suppressing the true essence in his body, keeping it at Lu Ming's original strength. He wanted to see the difference between his strength and the sacred stars. The sacred star was indeed stronger than Qin Qingshan. How could this be? The people of the sacred family, the sacred star's mother, Mui, and the others all cried out in disbelief. This fellow is forever unfathomable. Mulins exhaled and smiled. Mu Xiuyuan and Mu Zhang were the same. The sacred star's eyes suddenly narrowed, and a trace of disbelief flashed in them. Sacred star, this battle should be over. Fight! Lu Ming shouted, stepping into the void and strolling out. With every step he took, the void shook violently. The power of the 9 dragons' sky-stomping steps erupted. Slash! The sacred star exploded, and the battle sword was incomparably bright, as if it could split the space. The power of Lu Ming's first step was easily broken, but the power of the second step quickly followed. When the sacred star broke the power of the second step, his face changed slightly, and he felt a great pressure. But immediately the power of the third step arrived. The third step was even stronger, several times stronger than the second step. Slash! The sacred star roared and slashed out with his sword. Boom! With a loud explosion, the sacred star's body shook violently, and he quickly retreated. The whole place was in an uproar. The sacred star had retreated, and he was at a disadvantage. Lu Ming, who was at the peak of LV9 Martial King realm, was able to fight the sacred star and force him to a disadvantage. No, the sacred star can't lose. That little bastard, he deserves to die. The sacred stars, Mu Qing screamed with hatred. Ah! The sacred star roared, his hair flying wildly and his starlight surging. He could not stand being suppressed by Lu Ming. What are you screaming for? Your fate is sealed. Lu Ming sneered and strode forward. Kid, let's stop here. It's enough for today's battle. Next, pretend to lose to the sacred star. At this moment, a voice entered Lu Ming's ears. Lu Ming was stunned, and then he sneered. It seemed that someone could no longer sit still. Lu Ming's gaze swept the surroundings. Kid, don't look around. I'm the sacred star's uncle. I'll tell you straight, the sacred star's identity is not something you can compare to. Not only is he a member of the sacred family, but he also has the bloodline of the Shangguan. You can't defeat him. Today, the winner must be the sacred star. If you defeat him, I guarantee that you will die. The voice sounded again. Lu Ming's gaze shifted to the high platform. In the end, his gaze landed on a middle-aged man who was wearing a jade crown. This man was the sacred star's uncle, Shangguan Wuchen. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Ridiculous, this is ridiculous. Seeing that the sacred star was at a disadvantage, someone jumped out and asked him to lose to the sacred star on purpose. The reason was that the sacred star had the bloodline of the Shangguan clan, and his identity was higher than his. Otherwise, Lu Ming would die. Lu Ming had never heard of such a ridiculous thing. It was simply despicable. Would Lu Ming listen to him? Obviously not. Bang! You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.